And then there were 2, except in the NBA. In that case, then there's still 3 left, but almost 2. Hello and welcome back to The House That Happened, sponsored by Shoey's Bar and Grill, the only place to be in suburban Etobicoke, voted 4 times the best dive bar in all the GTA. It's number 1 in our hearts, the Phoenix rising from the ashes. Hi, I'm Andrew Milani.
Hi, my name is Cruz, and I want everyone to know that I'm a pretty damn good weatherman. Did you see the weather outside today?
Yes, I did.
How do you like it? Yeah, because it's May, and I'm told people all the time, it's going to freeze until May. Remember a couple weeks ago, the weather's back. No, man, keep your parka right inside the house. You're going to be wearing it in a couple weeks. But here's the caveat. Wait till October, and it's Halloween, and it's 24. You're all going to be happy, okay? So I'm a believer. I don't want to say nothing political. I don't want to say nothing about the trees and how the earth turns.
Get your tinfoil hats out, people.
There you go. I'm still saying, here's my theory. October and November, the weather's going to be outstanding.
Okay, we will see.
And anybody don't believe me, go check your weather for the last 3 years. Don't check that guy from Kansas City from 1884 because he didn't have a computer. Talk to me. I got it going straight. We're going to have great Halloween. We might even have a party on my deck in the shorts on Halloween, okay?
We are once again in Cruz's Chaos, and I'd like to remind everyone to give us a like, give us a comment, and please subscribe. It really helps us out with the algorithm. Cruz, how was your week?
Outstanding, outrageous, catalysmic, and we do know this. There is work going on at Chewy's. I don't know if Serge wants to let me say this out loud because we don't really know what's going to happen. But Serge, I'm saying it anyway. Things are starting to happen at the home of The House That Happens. We're not going to give you a date. We're not going to give you a time. Just that sometimes real progress takes time.
Yes.
And we will be there. Serge, we're cheering.
Hopefully it's right for football season, or at least for maybe the Argos getting ready for another Grey Cup. We will see.
Oh, yes. And yes.
Shoey's is home of the Argos, home of the Raiders, and I guess home of the Habs as well.
Thank you.
So I've been told. Any shout-outs this week?
First of all, I just think, I don't know if it's a shout-out, but when you hear things during the week that really get your attention, you want to go, yeah, I agree with you. You know, there's a million sports shows on. We're doing one ourselves. But you know what? We like to stay in the moment. What's going on now? Jamie Foxx recently came out with a rant that was unbelievable. He says, hey, man, we got the NBA playoffs going on. We got 3 teams that have never won the championship. We have got a team that's of historic proportions that hasn't won in over 50 years.
Well, 2 franchises that have never won, because OKC, they won in Seattle.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah. Technically. They've never won as OKC, but they won as the Sonics. Okay, thanks for the correction. But in any event, so we've got a fascinating bunch of personalities. We got some weird games going on. We got some situation, and we're going to talk about the GOAT for 20 minutes on a show when we're not talking about the 3 teams in the playoffs. This is asinine. It's ridiculous. It's just why we turn shows off. It's why some people get tired of sports, because if you're in the moment of a championship series and you're talking about 2 other people that are not even involved in the game, stop it. Can we do that? Stop. Notice I didn't even mention any names.
No. I mean, he's right though. It's all about context. Like,
yes,
save the GOAT debate for like a slow
July
summer day. Yeah, exactly.
During the All-Star baseball break,
or if LeBron does something during the season, it's relevant.
We're all about it. Yeah. And as the fall comes, we're going to be talking about MJ and his imminent time of returning to television. All great, but we're in the finals, going into the Final 4 of the basketball playoffs, and at least 2 shows I know about, they couldn't talk enough about what was going on otherwise. I think it's complete disrespect to the sport itself, and if you want to promote it for the future and get more eyeballs on what's going on today, why are you talking about the past?
Although we do say that history is important.
Oh, it is. I will put it in context, but I mean today. Okay, we're going to go on the show today. Okay,
there's a time and a place. That's what we're getting.
Okay, so we're going to talk right now, okay, and it's Florida and
Edmonton.
Rematch, right? Are we going to sit here and talk about the 1984 rematch between
Edmonton and the Islanders?
No. We might use it as a reference point, but we're not going to sit around and discuss it for 20 minutes, like who did what and why. And they're great. No, let's stop it. Let's get in the moment now. And that's why The House That Happens.
Why did Gretzky win the Conn Smythe in 84?
Yeah, exactly. Stop it. Be real or don't. But Jamie Foxx, great point. I hope people will start listening to it.
I hope so too.
Makes for better television.
I got a shout out for a game that I've been playing on my phone. It's called Retro Bowl. It's like an old school like football style game, and I don't know if you ever heard of Tecmo Bowl.
It's like, no, you're kidding. It's like that.
Yeah, it's like those kind of graphics, but you use your touch screen, and you only play offense, but then you get to like build a roster and stuff. It's fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
The more that things change, the more they stay the same, eh?
Well, retro gaming, it's kind of like seen a little bit of, I guess, a renaissance lately.
Yes. And
especially
not only
like with the YouTube and like that became its whole thing. And then like it kind of grew from that. And like.
What about university kids with flip phones now?
Yeah.
That too. Flip phones playing Techno Bowl. I'm going, what? What? It's cool. You know what I mean? If you're into it. I just think that the more the things change, the more they stay the same kind of deals working on it. But you're playing that game, eh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, like I play a lot of video games and sometimes you just have like an appetite for like simpler games, as simple as that. So exactly. I do find myself going back to those old games like Doom, like some old Mario
I've
games.
heard about it. You know what? It's funny you said that because the other day, my multi-screen setup, but sometimes I don't see the sound. Like everything's just rolling. I'm listening to one, another screen's going. That must have been what they were talking about, something about that game, because I seen some old school graphics. I think it was on Good Morning Football. But I didn't turn it up. I didn't see why, but I seen them. Maybe that's what they were talking about, because I seen them go, why are they showing these graphics from frickin' back in the day? Which is cool, because sometimes simple is cool too.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
You have any shout-outs?
I just got one that everyone knows I'm the music junkie that I am, and everyone says, when are you going to start talking more about music? We'll get to that down the road. Anyways, one of the great guitar player producers of the last 50 years, we lost him this week. His name is Ricky Derringer. If you know who he is, you're probably just as sad as I am. He's most famously known for working with Johnny and Edgar Winter. The Winter brothers are all from Texas. He put out a great album called All American Boy and another one called Derringer. They were absolutely amazing. I did get to see him one time at the top of the Bluffs in Scarborough.
Wow.
It was really cool because he got held up on the airplane. He had a rehearsed band waiting for him. It was one of the weirdest shows I've ever seen.
So they went on without him, or?
No, they just started vamping. So it was like supposed to go on about 9:30. And the band started vamping. Well, is this Rick Derringer's band? And the word went, no. This is a band waiting for Rick Derringer. What? Ricky came flying in with his BC Rich, jumped on the stage, and tore it up. Now, I like the fact that you turn around in between songs and they would count it out. I remember that. We're going to count it out here because, I mean, he never even rehearsed with the band. Got off the plane, jumped on stage, keyboard, guitar player, bass drum, and just killed it. Anyways, he died suddenly at 77. No one's saying how. But God bless Ricky Derringer.
God bless Ricky Derringer, and I'd like to shout out the winners of two of the Racing Triple Crown two of the big races from last week, and not exactly the Triple Crown, but we'll talk about Monaco later on the show. But Alex Palou won the Indy 500. He won the last 3 Indy titles.
Yes.
So one of the big stars in that series. And Ross Chastain won the Coca-Cola 600. He's an 8th-generation watermelon farmer, and he tosses down the watermelon after every win. That's one of my favorite traditions in NASCAR right now.
And you know the milk at Indy.
Yep.
Yeah, those are just great things that are going on. I didn't watch either race because I'm not really a big fan of that kind of stuff, but I do like the traditions that continue.
Absolutely. Any more shout-outs? That's it for me.
Okay, I got one more, and I'd be remiss if I didn't know it. All the girls are getting ready to leave it. They're going out to Amanda's baby shower. Amanda and Bruce are expecting a child in August. They're a little bit older couple, but they decided to go for it, and that's freaking amazing. Hopefully I will see them in Gravenhurst. I know Abby, who's going to be a big sister at 18, is going to have a lot to do to help it out. But anyway, Amanda and Bruce, congratulations. Sorry I couldn't make it. I'm doing this.
Congratulations. Wishing you happiness and health, of course.
Yes.
So we'll get before we get to our first official topic, which is the NHL, a few kind of side conversations here. So Russia is officially banned for the 2026 Olympics. Not surprised considering the war still going on in Ukraine.
Does that mean Belarus is out too?
I would imagine.
Yeah, because they're like the backdoor man on this deal, eh?
Yeah, basically.
So if Russia got to go, Belarus has got to go, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
It's a shame, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it is, and it's, you know what, we've been saying it since the beginning of time. It's unfortunate, but it's not always about the athletes want to participate, but you can't always have control over the people that are controlling your country. Mm-hmm. So sorry about that to the Ovechkins and everybody else in the world, but you will not get to play in the Olympics.
That is true. Big shout out to the Argos and the CFL at large. The Argos begin their season Friday, June 6th in Montreal. Argos going for their 3rd Grey Cup in 4 years, on the precipice of a dynasty. So we'll definitely have some eyes on the Argos as we enter the summer.
The game will be next Friday, so we'll probably do a little bit of a opening CFL season thing next Saturday.
Yeah.
Give you a little
Well,
more
we'll talk
hula,
about the
but-
first game.
Yeah, we'll talk about and the structure of the league, who's got what, who's looking where, and where they're going to go. But go Argos, big Argos at the house that happens.
I have a $10 bet on the Argos to win the Grey Cup, so we'll see where that goes.
Already?
Yep.
I
put this in a while ago.
Oh, that a boy. Good idea. What are your odds?
I forgot. I think it was like 3-1 or something.
Oh, okay.
3-1, 2-1, something like that. Nothing crazy, but I decided to jump on it. NCAA considering expanding March Madness to, 72
Stop
teams?
it. Stop
I think
it.
it's a little ridiculous.
Stop it. Next thing you know, Humber will be in. Hey, Humber, you want in on the tournament? We need a Canadian come. No.
Or how about Carleton? They were the power here in Canada for a long time.
Okay, let them be the wild card in the tournament. The 72nd team, Carleton from Canada. Stop it. It's, you know what? I remember, I've been watching the tournament for so long, and that's why the NIT was so huge in New York all these years, because you only had 32 teams making the tournament?
Sure.
Okay, then they went to 48. 48 was kind of neat. I thought that was the end of it. When it got to 64, I'll say, okay, 64 is that kind of tournament. It all comes down. It all looks even. We're going to go. That's enough, people. You're going to water it down. It's all for money.
Of course.
More games, more eyeballs, more of my hard-earned disposable income. No, 64 is good. I do not want to see. Let's say was Lakeland University in Thunder Bay.
Lakehead.
They even have a basketball team.
Of course they do.
Okay, they're going to get
basketball,
the tournament.
volleyball, and soccer. Like
Everybody's
going to
have that. Yes, yeah, that's the way it's going to go. No, I disagree with it totally. By the way, totally disagree with it. But hey, I'm an old guy. I'm over here. Whatever they're going to do to squeeze more dollars out of that sponge, they're going to squeeze.
Well, it's like you said before at the NBA, and I imagine NCAA has got to be thinking along the similar thought lines, where it's like they're going to be thinking about more games, not less.
Always. There's 1,000 TV stations out there. They got to fill the time with something. You know what I mean?
Your San Fran Sluggers report.
Oh, gee. First of all, I must come clean. I sucked.
Oh.
I sucked personally. I sucked.
No, the results sucked.
Oh, yeah, the results sucked. I'm outstanding, outrageous, catalysmic, okay? So let's get that straight. Sluggers, okay, guys, here's what we got to do. We got to show up. First of all, like Cody, sometimes I think you should be louder on the team. That's Cody McDonald, best player on our team. Guys, this is a great bunch of guys, by the way. Andrew, great bunch of guys. You'll meet them all. Love being on the team. Love everybody out there. John Bellardi, pushing 70, our pitcher, playing like 10 men. Bottom line is, guys, we got to be warmed up before the game, and you got to pick up a baseball bat in between weeks. We come out where you can't win softball games scoring 4 runs.
No.
Okay, I ended a couple innings. I was terrible. My fault was I was over swinging because I wanted to do so much, which only makes your situation worse.
Let the game come to you.
Exactly. Thank you very much. Andrew, I'm going to say that. Let the game come to us. This team was not much better than us, really. We had a few defensive situations where we put people in a situation they weren't quite ready for, but they'll be ready now. For example, we gave up 6 runs, I think it was in the first inning or second innings, and lost 10-4 for the game. So defensively, we weren't horrible. However, as a team unit, we got to learn to be tighter, guys. Big shout out to our infield defense, which we should be keeping there, which includes old man Cruz playing somewhere where you can hide him, because you guys realize I can't throw, my arm's falling off, even though I will play first base. I'm going to tell my son, Zachary Lee, don't be afraid to move yourself up into the batting order because you're crushing the ball lately. And as long as we get pick and dubs half the time, we might be a better team. So sitting at 2 and 4, guys, let's tie our shoes a little bit tighter. We're back out at CAA next Tuesday, I think at the same time. I like that we're getting a little bit early, but listen, during the week when you're sitting around with a beer and a cigarette in your hand, swing a bat. Swing a bat. That's all. Stretch your legs. Do something.
What position does Pick play for you guys?
Pick's the rover.
Okay.
That's just a joke. That's a joke. No, he's been playing infield and outfield.
Okay.
He can play. He's a good athlete. Pick can play pretty well everywhere he wants.
Kevin Pick, good friend of the show, of course.
Yeah, of course.
One of our favorites here at the House That Happens.
And he will be back soon for another thing, especially when we maybe get mid-season baseball and, of course, at the opening of the football thing, but that's a ways away. Anyways, Sluggers, we're not as bad as we were last week. We're not. So let's just tie our shoes a little tighter, including myself, and let's get this show on the road properly.
Let's get this show on the road, and let's jump into our first topic, which is, of course, the NHL's Stanley Cup Playoffs. Dallas on their way to the Stanley Cup Final for their second year in a row. First time they've been in that situation since the late 80s. But it comes at a cost. Zach Hyman out after taking a whatever. I imagine it's like a hand injury or like a wrist injury that he had in Game 5. But, I mean, I'm kind of bearing the lead here with how Pete DeBoer threw Jake Ottinger under the bus after Game 6.
That wasn't very nice.
That's putting it mildly.
That wasn't very nice. Okay, your guy carries you all season. Okay, and guess what? You should have been better.
Third conference final in a row.
Thank you. Okay, and the guy, and what about the rest of your team out there? You know. What happened to your top 3 lines? And I love those 3 lines. What did they do?
I thought of you immediately during his press conference because he was like, I don't want to blame him, but, and what we know, nothing good comes after but. It wasn't his fault, but it was kind of his fault. That was essentially his statement. And, like, I don't know how Dallas can go forward with that coach and goalie. Like, how's that relationship going to go on after that?
I think it's going to be sketchy at best. But
DeBoer's got to be on the hot seat now.
No, because he's got him there again.
Yeah, but he's a coach.
Except for the Stanley Cup run, this is the most successful run that the Dallas team has had in their history. Think about that. They're consistent, like where they are in the standings, where they ended up in the playoffs. The owners got to love them because they're getting those playoff gates every year.
But DeBoer does have a bit of a shelf life. We know that. He's a 3-year coach.
He's sandpaper. He uses sandpaper to take off your scabs.
Okay, maybe not in the hot seat right now, but like the first time they stub their toe, I guarantee you
I can't see them stubbing their toe because I think that balance of old and new has still got another year or 2 to play because the old guys aren't that old. They're not in mid-30s. I think they're going to be there. I think that the coach will be gone or Ottinger will be gone. But then again, here's the problem. Remember,
you think Ottinger's going to be gone?
I don't think he should be gone because...
No, I doubt it.
Yeah.
Where are you going
to get another goalie?
Exactly. It's like we say, there's not just a goalie tree where you pick goalies from.
No, and I don't think he was that bad. Now, in that game,
you allow the first 2 shots. That is bad.
That is bad. And one of them was that chip shot from the fairway. You know what I mean? But he was a bit screened.
But then he switched the goalie and he allows his first shot as well. So there might be some other issues at play. It wasn't just the goaltending.
I think it was a panic move by the coach at the time. That's my personal opinion. But anyways, I thought that Dallas had a great season. I can't believe they've had the fall down that they did. One of the things that we talked about in the first round of the playoffs, if you go back on it and you check the tapes, we were talking about how great the matchups are, how intense the hockey is, and how riveting we can't wait to get to watch a game every night. However, we did also allude to the fact that be careful what we wish for because sometimes the matchups later might catch up with us. Guess what happened?
Well, both these conference final series for hockey, like every game was like every team won by like 3 or more goals basically.
I was looking at the game.
3-goal win.
If you were watching the game the other night when Carolina went ahead of Florida and Dallas went ahead of Edmonton, that 20 minutes of hockey that you've seen after that is the playoff hockey that we love. I even kept it on there. If you want to take a look, because I want to watch it again. But okay, now
from Game 4, you're saying?
No, game 5. Game 5. Okay.
Wait, what do you mean when Edmonton went up on Dallas?
Yeah, and remember Dallas tied it, right? Was that what it was? What was the final score?
No, I don't think they tied it.
What was the final score? Or Edmonton. Anyways, for a brief period of time, the game was tied. It was tight, and the way
it was tight, yeah, because Edmonton, Dallas cut the lead down to 1 at one point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and then at that point in time, did you see the intensity and the level of play? You didn't realize at that time that this was an elimination game. You did not realize that this is a 3-1 series. This was serious hockey. My question is, where was that for the other 3 games?
Well, Edmonton just did a great job containing Dallas' stars. Like Thomas Harley was very pedestrian. Where did Rantanen go? He disappeared that series.
You know what? I'm going to tell you what I thought. I thought that Edmonton took a little bit out of the Florida Panthers book because if you notice something behind the play shit, and Rantanen's no tough guy. He's a big guy, but he's not a tough guy.
Agreed.
Oh, maybe Hyman's one of the guys that's paying for it with his little injury there because he was making sure, everyone was making sure that they said hi to Rantanen when he was on the ice, okay? Do you think that Hyman's injury was dirty? We'll never know because they said there was a play behind the play. So it looked like it was a 2-run double off the wall by what's his name? Who was the one that hit him anyway? One of the defensemen. Not Hiskinen, not Harley, the other guy. But they said when
Lindell,
I think it was Cece. I think it was Cece that gave him a cuff. But anyways, they said it was behind the play and we'll never know. But that type of injury says someone took a swing at you.
Well, you can see the video.
Yes, something went on. And not only that, I mean, Hyman's a good player, but he's not the cleanest guy in the world. He's not afraid to get his nose dirty. I just don't like when guys get their nose dirty or there's aggressive hockey playing on both sides, and then something sneaky dirty like that happens and the guy's out. It's a bitch.
That's why it's good that that's why it's a little bit good that Dallas is out, because Jamie Benn is out by extension.
You know what part of the problem is the gloves they wear.
How so?
What they do is, if you really take them now, back in the day, if you went from your wrist back, they had that freaking piece of plywood in the glove. So sometimes that restricted the snap of your wrist.
Right.
So they took it out and made it looser, so you got more grip on your stick so you can fire it, especially with the new composite sticks with all that slingshot stuff in them, right? But your wrists have got very little protection now. So if a guy comes across and gives you a good hack on there, you're not really protected like you were back in the day. Hence, Hyman's gone. And that's really a sad thing, because if Edmonton wins the Stanley Cup, he's going to get his ring, but he won't be on the ice. You know, so I feel for the guy. He's had a decent career. You know what I mean?
And besides that, I mean, it's going to be...
Or does it live by the sword, die by the sword thing?
I mean, maybe. I mean, he's not exactly a dirty player, though, so I do feel a little bit bad for him in that case. He did have successful surgery, we should say, which,
yes,
God.
Great. And Godspeed, speed to get you back on the ice. My take is this. I don't think he's a dirty player at all.
No.
I think that he's not afraid to finish his check.
Yeah, he's a hard-nosed guy.
That's the way to put it. He's a hard-nosed guy. Maybe he did something to a couple people to piss him off, including Rantanen.
I'd say likely.
So someone said, Rantanen ain't going to get Frontier justice, so we will. Do I believe that person meant to take Hyman out for the series? Probably not, but we'll never know.
Yeah, exactly.
You never know. And that's what I dislike about hockey since I was a kid. One little hack, and you can change the whole thing. And is it malicious or not? We know Bobby Clark. We know the Bobby Clark story, so that's in our back pocket. So I don't like shit like that. You know what I mean? I'd rather them drop the gloves and go.
Well, it takes away from, like, the gamesmanship.
Okay, so I'll to put it this way. I hate, look, have you ever heard this show? There's certain things you know about me, okay? I'm a Habs disciple, I'm a Lions disciple, and I hate Brad Marchand. However, when the guy shot the puck at him and Marchand went at him, I'm going at the dude too. But Marchand got the 10-minute misconduct. That's what's fucked up about the playoffs, bro. You shoot a puck in my head, guess what I'm doing?
Yeah,
I'm swinging my stick at your head. I'm not taking no shit like that. So I'm not, and this is hard, me defending Marchand. Holy shit. Sky falling? Let's take a look around. Everything okay? Anyways, I'm saying in the playoffs, that shit should go on. No matter who it is. If it's you or me, someone takes a shot at the puck. But in this NHL, we're not allowed to do that anymore. So then you get the dirty little hacks.
Well, it always seems to that the referee always just catches the retaliatory play. They never catch, like, the initial incident, which was arguably dirtier in a lot of cases.
Well, when you see the angle on the replay, the play was going the other way. So the referees probably went like that as the puck was shooting at the guy. Exactly. They were looking down the ice. Did he shoot that puck at Marchand?
Yeah.
Hey, and I thought it was a good idea at the time. I had no problems with it at all whatsoever. But I was even more saying, you got to retaliate. And that's, I don't want to pick on your team, but that's the difference between teams winning the Stanley Cup and not. You don't take no shit at no time at any place. And that's all Marchand was doing. But to get a 10-minute misconduct for that, didn't you think that was kind of harsh?
That was definitely harsh. That happened earlier in this round. It was game 1, right?
Yeah, and then not only that, he got the whatchamacallit, Carolina even ended up with a power play.
Yeah.
I don't know how the refereeing came out. So they got what? Roughing, instigating, 10-minute misconduct. Buddy that shot the puck got 2 minutes.
Weird officiating just continues to roll
Weird
on these
scenes
plays,
inside the goal mine, according to Jim Morrison of the Doors. I was very surprised, but you know what? We can talk about it like this now, because you know what? We don't have a vested interest in these teams. We don't give a shit about these teams. So when we're looking at it, we're more looking at a perspective of like watching a movie. Is this movie going to be good? Oh, it wasn't bad. It was great. Hope to see the ending. Do I want to watch it again? In any event, so when we're looking at certain players doing certain things, we're always going to look at it from our perspective as fence sitters. You know what I mean? Like if Sam Bennett gets run over by a Zamboni, do you care? No, of course not. But you're looking out there of what he's doing during the play, what's going to go on, because he's sneaky dirty.
Sure.
Problem on the Carolina Hurricanes is this. What happened to those
hold on. Let's go back to Dallas Edmonton. Let's
Dallas Edmonton. Sorry. Okay, right. Yeah, I meant that. Dallas Edmonton. Same thing. What happened to Dallas's defense? Do you see the trees back there? We don't have a bunch of little guys. We got some boys. Heiskanen, Harley,
Lindell.
The average size of their defense is 6'3". They move the puck. They skate. What did they do during this? Was Edmonton sneaky dirty with their Toronto-type forecheck?
I mean, I would just say they look like a deer in headlights. They didn't know what to do with McDavid. And
oh, no, okay, we're going to get to him in a second. I just think it's a sneaky thing to do, and it's going to start to be a pattern. If you look at Florida's first three lines, and you look at Edmonton's first three lines, there's somebody on every one of those lines that might cross
a bit
the
of a
line.
motherfucker. Yeah.
I didn't say that. I said cross the line. You want to say motherfucker? Let's go for it.
Well, I thought it was a good move by Edmonton to replace Hyman on that top line with Corey Perry.
Oh, bingo. Bingo. A veteran like that, guy puts his elbows up, going in the corner. He's got 7 goals.
I know.
7
goals.
goals.
He plays that top power play. So.
He's got 7 goals.
Stick that big butt in front of the net, you're good.
Evander, did they get a bonus for sitting all season to cover the freaking salary cap, and then you come in and play like this? Evander's got 5 goals, and you notice him on the ice.
Yep.
You know he looks fresh, which is going to tell you over the years about that rule never changed, so will it?
We've talked about this. I don't
Remember
know what
the last time we were in a room, there was a big talk about the general managers are going to go in. We're going to discuss this.
What can they do to curb it?
What happened when they came into the meeting?
Well, exactly.
The reporters are going, oh, can we ask you about, what are you asking about? Well, when we were going in the meeting, we were going to discuss this thing about injuries and salary. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? All the general managers come out acting like, meanwhile, going into the meeting, it was like, we got to do something about this. Nobody's going to do shit, and you're going to get the Evander Kane.
Well, there's
coming
no
back
good solution. That's the problem.
No, that's it. It is. So, if you get around it, and you can look at Evander Kane, looks like freaking 40-goal scorer out there. Big, strong, banging, and everybody. So they got him. They had Hyman. They got Perry. One of those guys was on every line to hit somebody. You know what I mean? Which is the Florida formula, because you look at every line on Florida. There's somebody that's going to do something freaking crazy, which means that the problem with part of the problem with Dallas at the time is they never played a team like that before. They were controlling most of the interests and most of the games at the time. Now they got a team that's coming with a different forecheck. I just don't think they adjusted, and then they started to play a game that they weren't used to. You know what I mean? That's what I think. They got away from their plan, which is another reason that Buddy could be on the hot seat as a coach. Yeah. Saying that about the goalie. What about your game plan? Aren't you the guy that's supposed to structure what's going on the ice? I seen a little mayhem out there. I seen a lot of confusion. I seen a Dallas team that I didn't see in the first 2 rounds.
It's going to be interesting, too, because they have Matt Duchene is going to be a free agent this summer. So I wonder if he sticks around there or not. He had a big season there.
What, he got 70 points, didn't he?
Something around there.
And he's, 34?
Yeah, he was same draft as Tavares and Hedman.
Yeah, so I'm looking at it this way. I say he is going to come back because then, Sagan's a couple years younger and Marshman he's a couple years younger. That's just a glue line. Notice that teams around the league that
Jamie Benn's a free agent as well. Dadanoff's a free agent. Granlund's a free agent.
That's a guy Toronto should look at.
I agree.
He suits your team, but we'll discuss free agents when the season's over and what the prospect is for Toronto. But I just thought about that. Granlund would look good on Toronto.
I agree. Yeah, he looks great coming out of San Jose.
Damn right.
Anyone that we talked about this before, anyone that gets exiled from San Jose, they look like $1 million right after.
Well, because now, first of all, they're getting exposure and they're playing on a team with structure. But that wasn't what was said about San Jose a long time ago. But we'll get.
Oh no, San Jose had their time in the sun for sure. Ekholm was back for Game 5, which was definitely good to see.
Oh yeah, 100%, and that's what I'm saying. So. That's another thing. They got a big boy on all 3 of their
defense pairs
now either, which is looking pretty good. And somehow they become that defense that we don't always see in Game 40.
Yeah.
Or Game 37 or Game 52, but we see him in the playoffs. And Bouchard's looking, he won't make Team Canada still, though.
No. He's a right winger. More than a defenseman.
You must be talking about my boy in Montreal. You see him playing like that, don't you? Now you know what I'm saying, right? But it works effectively because Buddy with him stays home all the time. He stays home all the time. I think the great thing about Edmonton is they gotten through this is their goalie situation.
Yeah, so that was next up for me. So
how they dance through this goalie thing is amazing. I would buy Skinner a beer right now just on what his mental makeup has got to be. To go what he's going on, and he gets back on the ice, and he acts like nothing's going on. Goalies are a little over there anyway. When you're shooting vulcanized rubber at your head at 120 miles an hour, you got to be different.
Yeah, you got to be a little crazy.
You got to be a little crazy just to start off with that. What am I doing today? I'm going to stop vulcanized rubber with my face. Okay, that's cool. I'm going to go for a beer. But the shit that he's been through in the last 2 years, and last
3.
Maybe the last 3. he always answers the bell. Gotta love a guy. And you know what? His disposition never seems to change. And when Picard's in, who's the number one cheerleader? He's just, I want guys like that on my team.
But the thing, so we've seen the Jekyll, as it were, of Skinner. My worry is this going to rear its ugly head once we get to the final? I really hope not.
You know what?
I really hope not.
You know what I'm going to predict right now?
What's that?
If I'm a goalie, I'm going to put a little extra padding on. Because I'm of the belief that both teams are going to take the chance of going through the crease and maybe having to do a PK. But they're going to have intentions when they're going to the crease.
PK?
Penalty kill.
Oh.
Better have it ready because they're going to do that. Looking this way, elbow going that way. You watch. You're going to be something. Because first of all, the biggest advantage in this series to me is the crazy Bobrovsky on Florida. We don't know what this guy's going to give you, but we do know this. He's going to be good.
Well, if Florida wins the Stanley Cup, he's probably going to be the Conn Smythe winner.
No doubt. And not only that his ticket to the Hall of Fame first ballot, which is pretty well solidified now.
Yeah, with all the Vezina trophies. He's got Conn Smythe already.
And he's certified first ballot. They won't even think about it. They got his plaque ready to go already down here in Toronto. That guy's one of the weirdest hockey players I've ever seen in my life.
For sure.
Bar none. Oh, by the way, he's a goalie.
Yeah.
Another guy, you can't tell if he's 3-0 or 0-3. You can't tell with that.
The Toronto series, those first couple of games, he was looking a little rattled.
I don't know if he's looking rattled. He was just looking Russian to me because that's how those guys play. Because notice his stick gets up a little higher. You watch when the goalies play, especially Bobrovsky, when things aren't going his way, he starts carrying his stick a little bit higher. Reminds me of Belfour back in the day.
Yeah.
When Belfour's shit started to go his way, his stick got a little higher. I'm not telling you why his stick got a little higher, okay? You can speculate or say alleged.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Bobrovsky's going to take a swing at you coming through his crease. That's your take a chance. I don't know if Skinner's got that in him.
No, I don't think so either.
But Bobrovsky's going to two-hand you coming through the crease.
Yeah. And I trust Bobrovsky way more in, like, big game situations than I would Skinner. Because Skinner, like, even like that closeout game against Dallas, that third goal, that was brutal. Through the legs, no screens. Like, buddy, you got to have that one. You got to have that.
And that's what I'm saying. It gives a false sense of excitement for the other team for a second. We can come back. No, you can't. No, you can't. He was sleeping for a second. But I think that's a clear advantage in this way. But I mean, if we're gonna look at it, first of all, before we go any further and we talk about the other series and what Florida's take on this is that we have to consider the fact that Draisaitl and McDavid are on a mission. Okay, let's see. Now you got to put this is a story now. Stanley Cup Playoffs isn't movies. Let's see the first altercation that we had in these playoffs. We were already talking about, if you make it to the Stanley Cup Finals one year, you don't always, and you lose, you don't always come back. Now, Tampa, Florida, and now Edmonton are kicking the shit out of that theory because recent sample size says no.
Well, Tampa took them 5 years to get back, but yeah.
Okay, but then
Pittsburgh as well.
Okay, but then they all went 3 times in a row. They all kept going back there in a row. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is that I'm impressed the fact that Edmonton got all the way back here. Again, I'm impressed that Florida got all the way back here again for their third year in a row and the amount of wear and tear it takes to get there. But then Florida's just a bunch of goons now anyway with some very high-end players like Barkov. Suddenly leading playoffs in scoring. Can't deny that. Isn't he the number one scorer? Or McDavid is.
McDavid's number one scorer.
Yeah, and then Barkov. But look at Barkov's numbers.
I think Draisaitl's number 2. Barkov's not that high, I don't think.
No, he's got 17 points, bro. He's got a point a game in the playoffs. And all that checking that went on in the Toronto series, you got to give him.
Oh, he's not even top 5. Oh, he's tied for 5th. Okay.
Yeah, but he's got 17 points, right?
Yeah.
And
but the 3 Edmonton guys, McDavid, Draisaitl, Nuge, are all higher.
Oh, well, come on. Look what's going on now.
Rantanen as well still higher. He racked up all those points in the first 2 rounds.
And then he just drove his car off the cliff. So Rantanen, and is he a free agent? No, he already signed. They already signed him.
He signed the 8 years.
Yeah, he signed the 8-year deal. In any event, I'm just saying this, that first of all, I feel bad for Dallas because I think I was on their bandwagon from before the season started.
You and Steven both had them winning the cup.
Yes, I really thought they could do better. I just really weird how things got different in the series and Dallas got away from the way that I normally see them play. You know what I mean? Like, and I call that on the coach too. Mm-hmm. Couldn't you tighten it up, bring them back together, whatever? But there's one other issue that we cannot deny. Connor McDavid wants a freaking ring.
Yeah. So anytime anyone's like, McDavid, maybe he's coming to Toronto, I'm like, no. Second time in a row, he's sticking with his buddy Draisaitl in Edmonton. Come on.
That's a career.
Yeah.
That's a career. You know what I mean? You go this far. I mean, he'd love to do it from Newmarket, but he'll do it from Red Deer, whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe he comes to Toronto when he's 40 for the Lifetime Achievement Award or, whatever it may be.
38
that's
on one leg.
Yeah, that's that's years in the future. We don't have to worry about that.
In any event.
The job that PK Subban wanted but couldn't get.
There you go. Yeah, well, that's another story unto itself.
Not to beat the shit out of PK, but...
Okay, well, sometimes it has to happen.
Whoa, and you're a Hab guy.
Yeah,
you're a
I know.
PK guy.
He's gotten better. I could do a whole take on PK. I'm just glad he's good on TV. But I could do a whole take on PK because he was one of my favorite players. We won't, let's not regress.
Yeah.
That's for another time.
You want to get into the Florida-Carolina series?
Yeah, just before I go, though, about the Edmonton thing is that I cannot say enough about... the big question with them is, like I say, it's a whole story. And now that they're here and they've returned to it, let's get back to the beginning of the playoffs. They were down 0-2 to LA out of the blocks.
Yeah.
Think about that. They were 0-2, and everybody was saying, this is what happens. This is what happens.
Not me, though.
No, you didn't. I was kind of like, whoa, because I was picking them to go far. And all of a sudden,
he chose them to lose in the first round to LA.
Yeah, true, because I thought LA would get them this time, right? And look what happened after they won that, especially the 4 in a row and the way in which they played.
Yeah, how they did it, yeah.
Yes, and I didn't realize that the coming back, like the Evander Kane's buddy on defense came back. What a, like the lineup, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Got it tighter in the way they're going to go.
It became like a living organism in
itself. You got it, and
it
kept on moving. It was like something out of Star Trek that got on the machine, and it's keep growing. How do we get rid of it? I don't know. Jetson it out the back. We'll call Spock. But anyway, Edmonton is looking like... I'm looking. Aren't you glad it was now that we got to this far? Aren't you glad we're getting a rematch?
Of course.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure. You know what I mean?
What hockey fan worth their being isn't going to say that they're happy about this rematch? Come on.
Okay, so
everyone thought this was a possibility. So I think we got to be pretty thankful that we got here.
Oh,
from a fan perspective, from an entertainment perspective.
Oh, that's exactly what my thing is, because we don't have a horse in the race.
Yeah.
We're going to the movies. Let's go see a good show. That's exactly where I'm totally pining towards this. Now, there's a couple weird things that I'm going to say. First of all, we were just talking about the Edmonton thing, right? What they're saying is and I'll jump right onto Florida about this, is that one of the things they say in the playoffs, which is very important, and I've been paying attention to it this year, is what's the depth of your scoring? Like, who does the scoring? Like, okay, let's just say, like, if you can trap certain guys on certain teams, the other guys have got to step up and score, okay?
Yeah.
Hence the reason probably Dallas isn't around, because their secondary scoring wasn't enough. Toronto's not around.
It should have been enough, though,
Dallas should have been, but their secondary scoring didn't come around. Toronto's secondary scoring coming around. I don't even know if Carolina has any secondary scoring. God bless them. But you know what I'm saying? Like when
for sure.
You know,
that's how Florida got here. They got 3 lines they could chip in, and Edmonton's arguably got 4 lines that can score.
Here's my point. Yeah. Everyone's saying, okay, we're this far in the playoffs. You got what? You got 5 guys that got 5 goals. That's a
lot.
Okay. And you got a couple guys with 4. Stop it. Edmonton's got 7, 8 guys with 5 goals, and a bunch more coming even more, which saying their depth is even greater. So now we got to start talking about the matchup.
Well, hold on. Florida, Carolina. We didn't even talk about that.
That's what we're going to get to. Okay. That's what blows my mind, that all that scoring could go there with those 6 defensemen on Carolina. Where did they go? Where did they go? Who do we have out there? Slavin, Burns. How do you say that guy with the weird name, the long name?
Chatfield?
Chatfield, the other guy too.
Orlov.
What happened? That guy was invisible. This is Orlov. I want him on my team yesterday. Maybe not anymore.
Slavin, they were having his way with him. He maybe got exposed for not being that tough, I think.
I think part of the problem was he's not as fast.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Because he's good at running guys off. You know what they did to him, too? The same thing they did to Tanev. Every time they get in the corner, guys just banged him. So he had his head up a little bit more. But you got to be ready for that. It's playoff hockey, right? Mm-hmm. You're a veteran. You're not nobody there. But my thing is, again, Carolina had a bunch of trees back there. What good did it do them? You guys looked overmatched. It was horrible. It was horrible hockey, bro.
I think they panicked in putting Kochetkov in net for game... Was it game 3?
3,
yeah,
yes.
That was a panic move.
Yes, and it didn't work out for them. Okay, and the game...
it failed in their face.
Okay, and the game that they won, I mean, Freddie stood on his head once. Okay, so they got away
They broke
with it.
their 15-game conference final losing streak.
Thank God for that. Imagine going around with that. You'd have been 16. Oh,
4 times in a row getting swept. That's, good for Carolina for preventing that.
Agreed. But I'm still saying the structure of that team that we said going into Carolina, what was going to kill them, and this is what it was. You got to have a bona fide scorer. Got to have a Barkov.
Yeah, they don't have that. Svechnikov disappeared that series.
Oh, no kidding. And they had no, and what was their secondary scoring? Oh, they didn't have, was it primary scoring? So how could they have secondary scoring? Great team. They're a great checking team and a great scoring team. I mean, a great, good on defense. But where do they go with this team? Because now they're coming back and forth to the finals. The team is young. They're going to be in the hunt. Like next year when we start the season, aren't they going to be one of the favorites to win their division?
I mean, they're definitely going to be talked about. But I mean, Washington, they're going to be back with a lot of the same guys. Let me pull up Carolina's page on Puckpedia, see who's coming back.
Because they need a bona fide 40-goal scorer. Yeah, they've got some issues of bringing guys back.
Yeah, so Brent Burns and Orlov are free agents.
They'll bring back Orlov. I think Brett Burns is going to go to another team. Yeah, so he'll get it. He might play.
Well, Orlov, I don't know. He might get paid. We'll see. It's like somewhere else. I'm saying. Maybe.
What do you think he's worth? You going to give him more than $6 million?
He got 7 this time around.
Okay, and but that was his last contract, and he's what, 31?
33.
33. He's not getting 7 again, bro.
Probably not.
So he'll stay there for 5.
We'll see.
Comfortable? Yeah.
Up front, not any huge names up front. Stankoven, actually, he's on the last year of his rookie deal, so you have that to play with.
Oh, he'll say he's their only real scorer, if you want to call it that.
Well, I think the thing is, like, they just can't get star player to come play in Carolina. Mind you, they got all those draft picks for Rantanen, and they think they have, like, 2 firsts. Let me pull up that part. So, they have some first-round picks to play with. So they have 2 in 2026, so they can possibly trade one of those to try and land someone. They have a lot of cap space.
Well, if they're going to land somebody, it better be somebody that they're discontent, like a Lane, and you don't want Lane. But that's the kind of guy you're going to have to go after because what are you going to – I mean, they need a bona fide goal scorer, right? Okay, so no one wants to go to Carolina.
Like Trevor Zegras or something, maybe.
Maybe, okay. What about what's his name from Vancouver? Can they get him?
Well, Besser or Pettersson, one of those two.
Besser's
a free agent.
Besser's a free agent, but I don't think that he's the type of guy that takes him up to the next level either. I think he's a solid guy. What about Brock Nelson?
He's not that guy either, though.
So then they're in trouble. They better draft a goal scorer because the thing about Carolina is they don't have the guy.
Even then, drafting, you got to wait like 3-4 years for that guy to develop,
So they're going to be a perennial, let's hope they get this many playoff gates and the owners are happy with the gate, making some money. Because the bottom line, they're not going to go any farther ahead with this lineup. You need a goal scorer.
Their core is like, they're kind of approaching that peak if they're not there already,
that's what I'm saying. So that's what I mean. They're going to be past their best before date in about 2 seasons. Because the team, their average age is like 29, 28, which is a great age to be winning a Stanley Cup. If you look at the history of it, like the average age of a team and getting there.
But they don't have that guy.
They don't have that guy. And it was so obvious in the playoffs this year. You know what I mean? And they're going to go in the next season without it. And here's the other thing.
They just got to be super aggressive. They have no other choice.
Oh,
keep Brendan
I don't
Moore.
know.
I think his job is safe.
So why don't they sign Marner?
He doesn't want to go there.
Give him 14.
He doesn't fit the system.
Give him 14.
He doesn't fit the system.
I'll go there for 14.
And where you don't fit the system and you're going to look like shit and your value's going to go down?
You already got guaranteed money. Hi. You ever heard of Dustin Johnson?
No, come on.
Just saying.
We're talking about Marner, not Dustin Johnson here.
Okay, I'm still saying.
No, come on. Why didn't it work? Hold on. Why didn't it work for Rantanen? It's same reason why it's not going to work for Marner in Carolina. They need their wingers to go hard into the forecheck. That's not Marner's game. End of story.
Okay, but you get one line that plays a little different and can set up the guys in front of the net so they can't score.
That's not how you build a team.
Okay, well, I don't know if it's the way you build a team. We could argue about this all day, but I'm going to tell you this much. Here's the wake-up call for Carolina because I was going to get there. Bringing up Marner. Here's what I'm going to get there. They tried it with Rantanen. How did that work out?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So they could go for him, but that doesn't mean the guy's going there. Like Rantanen got there and said, you ain't signing me. Whoa. Didn't you do your due diligence? Guy lands in the dressing room and goes, no, I'll take the locker at the end. Well, I don't expect to be here long.
We spent a whole 2 weeks there or whatever?
Yeah, he stayed at the Hotel 6. Saved his money. Come on, man. This is and I feel for Carolina. Like, what was their big score of getting guys lately? Stealing Kokamini from Montreal? That's their big power play move in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Go Gamini
I mean,
from
they got
Montreal.
Taylor Hall, which is a nice little pickup, but he's like 33.
But that was at the time. Like, listen, Taylor Hall couldn't get a contract anywhere else.
Yeah.
When you think about it. And he got decent money because he was a player there and they could use him.
Well, they got him in the whole Rantanen thing. They came out of that with Stankoven, Taylor Hall, and a bunch of draft picks. So
that's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not
and
bad.
he traded Nashas, who was a malcontent there.
Was he really?
Yeah.
He
demanded a trade.
Yeah, well, anyway, Colorado got a score there. I think he would have helped Carolina in the playoffs more with his positioning that he was earlier in the season, how he played there. But then
but you get Stankoven, who like fits your system more. Hall fits your system.
What is Carolina's system then? Can you tell me what's Carolina's system? I watched every game. I'm trying to figure out what system this is. Super Mario? I don't know.
Fire everything.
Mortal Kombat? I don't know. And, I like the fact that they were shooting from everywhere because they were causing dissension in front of the net.
Well, when they could hit the net, it was good, except for the shoot the puck, shoot the puck.
But then
I've never heard that organized from a crowd before. That was insane.
I love it.
Yeah.
I
loved it too.
But you know what the problem was? The difference in going in front of the net was all those Florida big defensemen, they weren't even looking for the puck. They were just saying, okay, shoot the puck because I'm taking your head off, buddy. Because you look in front of the net, they like Carolina, and you know what they did too? Not only were looking, okay, like they're here, right? Okay, I got you. Left the lane wide open for Bobrovsky so he could see. So they weren't screening him either. They were just pushing guys out of the way. And if they weren't pushing them out of the way, they were knocking them on their ass. Which was a whole new thing for Carolina. Who did they play in the playoffs before that? Like that? Nobody. And you know what I mean? So what they're going to have to do also is they're going to have to add a little bit more element of toughness. Because toughness seems to be this key word coming into the playoffs, okay? Remember a few years ago, it was back to small, speed, skill will win you the Stanley Cup. What was that, 5 years ago? Around the time Montreal was made to the finals, they were talking about that.
But that was never really true, though.
Never. But so who brought it up? Because now what are we back to?
I would say that was maybe
Have
more of a
trees
thing when
and kill.
Well, I would say that was more of a thing when Pittsburgh won back-to-back.
They had some big boys, though, back there to help them. I mean, they had the front end flying, but they had some big boys back there at the time. Come on.
Like who?
I can't remember, but they had a couple big defensemen not even playing the league anymore. They had a couple big guys.
Who was their defense for at that time?
I will look at that team from 08, 09, because the interesting thing is...
I'm talking about the 16-17 ones especially.
I mean, 16-17, yeah. Okay, but that when they won the Cup, right?
Yeah, back-to-back.
Back-to-back. They had a couple big boys back there. And they had, what's his name, that could shoot the puck? They had the was it Letang?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
he was out for the second one, but he was a big part of that first win there.
Yeah, and the way they had there. But the other guys were big, like, stay-at-home guys. And half the time, Crosby was going back, get the puck, and bring it out anyway.
I agree.
Get the puck and bring it out anyway, so they didn't have to worry about it. But Carolina's big thing is they got to add either an ounce of toughness, a 40-goal scorer, or they take a step back.
Well, the 40-goal scorer, good luck. In conclusion, Carolina got bitch slapped both on the ice and on the scoreboard, physically on the ice and on the scoreboard.
Okay, just look at the scores when they came out. 5-2, 5-0, and 6-2. That's our Stanley Cup semifinal first three games. I was wondering if Tupu and Benny was on. It's an old cartoon for kids. It's something better to watch. Some of the games are bad. You know what I mean? Like, especially, did you see the 5-0 game?
I mean, at a certain point, I turned it off.
Me too, because you know what it was? They were just out there swinging sticks. Marchand and Bennett were laughing at him, going by the bench and saying shit. Kachuk was just keeping an elbow up. He didn't care. He was just skating around like this. You know what you got to do in hockey sometimes? Just punch somebody in the face. Marchand did it to you.
Yeah.
When you got to do the same thing back, and if you don't, bye-bye, Carolina.
The Maurice Brindamore handshake conversation.
Oh, how often do we see that?
Never.
And did you see when they even separated hands? Maurice was still over his shoulder, cackling at him.
Yeah,
even when they separated,
going,
he was turning around. He was still. I want to know what they were saying. You know what I mean? Like, well, Brindamore, I think a bit on his part. I think it would have been better if he just shook hands and kept moving.
I mean, it's a little bit different though, because like Maurice was his coach. I'm sure there's a little bit of respect there. So he's like, he doesn't want to, just leave him like that.
Oh, I got you, but it didn't look like they were saying, "Hey, call the wife. We'll see you at the keg tomorrow."
Oh, guaranteed. You're definitely right there. But I mean, I think Brind'Amore's just like a classy guy.
I do too. But what was his biggest bitch?
What do you mean?
Why was he getting mad at Maurice?
Well, I don't think he was getting mad. I just think they were having a spirited discussion. And he was just like, no, like we want to be a part of the handshake line too. I think it was just as simple as that.
Okay, well, maybe it could have been, but I think that Brandon Moore was just realizing his team got bitch slapped so hard that it was frustration. I think it was more frustration.
Well, it's the third time he's been to the conference finals as a coach.
Third time he got slapped.
Well, and he's got one win to show for it in that round.
Oh, yeah.
Got swept by Boston 2019. That was his first year as head coach. 2 years ago, he got swept by Florida, and this year you're losing 5 to Florida. So, like, a marginal improvement, but like...
Okay, but this is what happens to teams now. If they get rid of him, aren't they going to take a step back?
Brindamore?
Yeah.
No, don't get rid of Brindamore. I don't even think that's in the cards.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. But sometimes, we did it 3 times. We did it 4 times. It's not working.
I don't think. I think him versus DeBoer. I think that's apples and oranges.
I think it should be too.
Because Brindamore didn't throw anyone under the bus.
Nope. He's huge to like a guy backing his players. Yeah. He's a bit of a player coach, but
100%.
You've got to be accountable for him to be a player coach. That's what I love about Brindamore. Like, he doesn't kiss no one's ass. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, he'll back you up, but you better not make him look bad. Because he'll be the first guy to freaking grab you by the ear and throw you freaking in the press box. That's what I like about him. I thought it was more a frustration thing than anything, and I think that Paul Maurice is starting to get a little bit smug in his old age, because if you think of the history of how he got here and all the shit that he went through, and when he won the Stanley Cup, what was he? The coach with the most wins that never won a Stanley Cup up until that point now, right? He's on the verge to back-to-back. So I think he's deservedly a little bit smug. He's a little bit more smug than he's ever been. Which
yes and no. He's always kind of been this guy, though.
I think he's amped it up a bit.
I know. I remember a lot of this with Winnipeg too. But with Winnipeg, it was like, oh, they're the underdogs.
Oh yeah, I got
the
that
small
too.
team from mid Canada.
Oh yeah, I got all that.
That kind of vibe.
But I liked him best when he was freaking going 15 rounds with the Toronto Press. Those were the most fun days ever. Just getting up. I thought he wanted to swing at Steve Simmons.
Wow, who doesn't?
Who else? A couple of guys.
Damian Cox.
He wanted to take a shot at all. You could hear their voices in the press conference, and you could just see the smoke. But you know what? I think he learned a lot from that. Made him a better coach.
Yeah.
At times, because he's not that combative at press conferences anymore.
No.
But that gets back to the original premise when people say about what goes on. We'll deal with this in a second, about what goes on in your city and how you're covered. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That story comes up, but we'll talk about, hold that thought till we get back to where we are now with this rematch.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
So I kind of said this a little bit earlier before, but Edmonton's got the advantage up front with the forwards.
I agree.
Defense, slight advantage. Even then, I don't know. Defense is almost like flip a coin in a lot of ways.
I will give...
They both have different strengths and weaknesses. They're not exactly the same kind of defense, but they both kind of do things that the other ones don't do in a way.
I hear what you're saying. I think it's going to be more like this. Who knocks who on their ass more?
Yeah.
That's what it's going to come down to. And I don't think that...
Florida clear advantage in net, though.
Oh, yeah. No. That's a gimme. That's a huge advantage. And that's
why I'm worried about Edmonton.
Difference in the series.
That's why I'm worried for Edmonton.
Yes, that could be the difference in the series. If Skinner isn't bringing his A game, they ain't getting a cup. So let's go back to the last time we had a rematch with Pittsburgh and Detroit. Detroit won the first year, Pittsburgh won the second. So can we have the same thing here so all of Canada can be happy with the cup bringing home? And oh, by the way, can I say this honestly? I like the cup coming back to Canada. I don't have a problem with that. But I got to jump on the Edmonton bandwagon whenever you hear me with McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins.
Who's saying you got to jump on the bandwagon?
I'm going to say, I hope they do well.
I think for me, it's just it's more I'd want to see Florida lose.
I would say that you got a point there too, but I'm going around I've heard people saying through the street.
And Edmonton's the underdog in this situation, right?
By what?
Well, Florida's the defending champs.
Okay, well, I want to see what the Vegas line is.
This is their third final in a row.
I'm just saying this. You know what I've never been a player of, and this is why I like about the Champions League in Europe. This is what I like.
Okay.
You cheer for your team, fuck everybody else. Right? My team isn't in there anymore, so everyone's got to jump on, we got to cheer for Edmonton. Why you got to cheer for Edmonton? Just because they're Canadian? Well, I hope they bring the cup home, but
and everyone loves McJesus. Come on.
That's the only only thing that I could ever say that makes me, because if you be a great player, got to win the cup. And McDavid's one of the greatest hockey players I've ever seen in my life.
Throw Draisaitl in that category
too. And let them win their cup and get their flowers and the way it's going to go. But I've never been like that my whole life. I just can't like this team because I'm supposed to like this team. No, I've never been an Edmonton fan. Back in the Gretzky days, I was no big Edmonton fan.
You're a little bit spoiled by some great Habs teams when you were growing up. When I was growing up, the Leafs didn't make the playoffs, so you got to hit your whatever. Yes, to someone's bandwagon, watch because you want to still watch hockey.
But I watch every game every year. Yeah. I'm going to do it anyway. But it's an interesting point that you have about the way that I've been brought up, because this is the way we were, and this is the way we're going to be, and I haven't changed, not one freaking bit. Like, you know what I mean? It took me a couple days. I don't want to admit it. When the Habs lost to Washington, I haven't turned on hockey for about a day and a half. I just I hide it much better. But I mean, ask Gail. I'll leave him alone I said, the Lions lose. I'll leave him alone for a day and a half. Stay away from him. He's not himself. So I can't.
Not fit for human consumption.
100%. I'm a suck. Let's just be honest. See, guys, if you're not a suck, then you're not a fan. But I can't.
I don't know if I agree with that.
You were happy when the Leafs lost?
I didn't say I was happy, but there's a difference between being like not being happy and being a suck.
I'm a suck. Straight up.
So I don't buy this. If you're not a suck, you're not a sports fan. No.
Oh, well, whatever the case may be. I'm not happy. Okay, but can I rephrase it?
Sure.
I'm a sore loser.
Even then.
I don't like it at all. I get pissed. I get angry, man. I don't like it. So now I'm supposed to be saying, now that my team is gone, I'm going to go and drive McDavid to the park every day. My job is to walk Mitch Marner's dog and nothing else. I don't do any of that other shit. So I'm hoping Edmonton wins. I do.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to go 7 again. I'm wondering who's going to be the...
I'm not so sure.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not so sure. Well, we'll get into our pick. Actually, I guess we could just say it now. No weekend pick 'em this weekend, by the way. The Stanley Cup Finals begins Wednesday.
So I just want to say one thing. I want to say 5 things. Do you think this is going to make a difference?
Okay.
Schmidt, Kukulov, Ekblad, Kulikov, Mikola. Who am I missing?
Ekblad, Mikola... Oh, Forsling.
Forsling, yeah.
Seth Jones.
That could be the difference right there.
Well, in Florida, too,
I mean...
No one's talking about this. I truly believe this is their last dance with this crew.
Because of money? Salary cap?
Because of salary cap. Because it's going to come down to Bennett and Ekblad. Those are they're going to be their big decision this offseason.
I heard they could pull them off both if one takes a shorter term, because then they can kick them back in 2 years when the salary cap goes up. That's one of the guys said that, Scuttlebutt. I said,
who's going to want to be that guy, though? This is their big chance to make a payday. If it's Ekblad, he's going to be like, I'm the longest tenured player in this team. Why should it be me? And Bennett's going to be like, I'm the top scorer of these playoffs. Why should it be me?
But Bennett, you came from somewhere else.
Doesn't matter. Leads the playoffs in goals. That's going to be in his back pocket.
End of story. And how many teams around the league want Bennett? Okay.
32 tems want him.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. I don't know, but there is a possibility that they could sign both. It's going to have to be with they're going to have to jump into bed with one of the guys on a you're in Florida, no taxes, here's an extra year. That kind of deal, okay?
But
lower money, but an extra year.
No, but an extra year costs you more against the cap.
And if the cap goes up in a couple of years, you could bet. It's a tricky dance. It's a tricky dance.
Okay, but the problem is getting under the cap for next season.
I think they could do it. They could. What was the salary cap, right? It's going to be what?
It's going to be at 95?
What?
It's going to go up to 95 next year.
Which is what, an 8 million jump or 6 million jump?
7 or 8, yeah.
Say, okay, around there. That's a player. Now you got to play.
But their new salaries is going to be like accounted for with the jump, because they get paid in percentage of the cap, right?
Okay, so what? So what? Bennett's going to take what percentage?
And plus, you got to think of like other guys to fill, because they have a lot of free agents. So.
Oh, I agree too. So what do you think? Is Bennett getting 10 mil? No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Someone's going to pay him that.
Then someone's going to pay Marner 14.
Yep.
Wow.
Marner at least 12, 13.
Does he stay in Toronto for 10?
He's not staying in Toronto.
I'm just joking.
But yeah, I don't know. Florida's got they have 5D on their well, one of them's the depth guy, so they're gonna have to sign at least 2 or 3. They need a backup for next.
Okay,
backup goalie.
So Forsling and Seth Jones are already taken care of for next year, and another guy, is it Kulikov or
Seth
Mikola?
Jones is taking. So Seth Jones, Forsling, Mikola, and Kulikov are all under contract.
So they're good. The other two guys, they can figure it out. Florida's not going anywhere for a while.
Yeah, but Ekblad, that's like a top pair guy for them.
Oh, huge. So but I think they're. Well, who do you think's more important?
They only have.
Who
hold on. So they only have 19 million cap space, and they got to figure out like 3, 4, 5, like 7 roster spots.
Okay, so the word around.
So they're not going to be able to keep Ekblad and Bennett.
Okay, so let's do some algebra here.
Okay,
you give the extra year to Bennett, which is going to kill you down the line because, he'll be a 35-year-old scoring 2 goals.
So you only have 9 mil left in cap space.
Why? Because you're giving 10 to Bennett, right?
Yeah.
Well, you're not giving. Well, Ekblad's only going to get 6. He's only gotten 6 or 7 now. He's older, so he should be taking
29. But he's in the.
He's 29.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's Oh, I thought he was. So 31.
You think he's going to be the guy to throw overboard?
I think that I would, in my opinion, right now, if I had the choice, I'd take Ekblad. I would over Bennett. Because just the way that he plays back there, and he's got that sneaky dirty in him, and defensemen are more valuable to have of his scale than freaking Bennett is. You'll find a Bennett before you'll find an Ekblad. Agreed? Maybe not.
I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure.
You know why?
Ekblad, right-handed defenseman.
Okay, but you know what the thing is that when we're talking about Bennett, we're talking about his intangibles. And that doesn't come up when you're in a room.
But he's leading the playoffs in goals, though.
Okay,
and he's always a big playoff performer, too.
I'm not taking anything away from Bennett. I don't like the guy, but I'm not taking anything away from where he is. But I see him saying that $9 million, stay in Florida for an extra year. That's how I figure that they're going to play it out. And when you get the tax break on top of it, you're going to save money. So,
but then that only leaves you with like
12 million.
No. That leaves you with only 8 million to figure out like 5, 6 other roster guys. So you won't be able to keep Ekblad then. That's my point.
What's Ekblad making this year?
He was making like 7.5. He's not coming back for a pay cut. That's why you're only going to be able to keep one.
Okay, you got a point.
I thought maybe too much time on this. But.
Okay, but anyway, it's an interesting point because that's going to determine whether, when you want to play. Because then you got to go for it. Because remember now, the thing about being a great team is you got to win 2 in a row. So Florida's on the precipice of being a great team. Not only that, they can say they've been there 3 finals in a row, and they're a generational or a team that gets a asterisk beside their name for the rest of the hockey history because what they've accomplished. Correct?
No asterisk.
Not asterisk, but I mean they'll be like they're not like the team that they're not St. Louis Blues winning 1 Stanley Cup.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. So I think they're going to be around for a while. I don't think this Florida dynasty is done. I think it hasn't. I don't think because I
think the salary cap is going to smack them in the face like what happens with all these dynasties.
Okay, but not yet. They could go another year because everyone's.
But they won't be able to keep everybody.
They just lose Ekblad.
Good luck getting back to the final.
I might find somebody. No. I'm not. Listen.
I don't know.
Here's the thing: wait a second.
They got to find someone from the scrappy. Like you might get someone good like a Schmidt, but like. At the end of the day, Schmidt's good, but he's still a third pair D.
Oh, of course. He's just playing over his head right now. That's how I see it. But the bottom line is I'm just saying that I believe the structure of Florida as it is now, they've got a year or 2 left because most of those guys are signed and everybody, their average age is under 30.
Just like you thought about Tampa Bay?
But Tampa Bay had their 3-year run and they're gone now.
I get it. So this is Florida's 3-year run, though.
Well, we'll see next year. I think
this is their last dance. I will vehemently stand by that.
You said that last year with Tampa or the year before, and Tampa got right close. So I'm not saying they're going to be...
Tampa Bay hasn't won a playoff round since they went to that last final.
That's only 2 years ago.
3 years ago now.
Is it? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm saying I don't think Florida...
They got spanked in 5 games in the first round.
Those were tough games, though. That was better than
still only
5
1-1.
games. That's like the Vegas Oilers series. Only 5 games, but we wanted 7. Come on.
No, but Tampa Bay got spanked in a bunch of those games.
Okay, so let's just go this way before we're getting too long on this subject. The bottom line is this. I don't think Florida's going that far away, and I wish they did, because I'm going to tell you this much. The average age of the team is only 29. And all those guys are under contract, so you lose Ekblad. What if they draft the right defenseman? We don't know.
He's not going to be there right away, though.
No, true. But I'm saying...
And they traded away all their draft picks, so I don't think that their pipeline is that strong either.
No,
where guys
I don't think it
right
is,
away.
so I'm saying that they're going by. But I mean, I think that they're going to build, especially if they win this year, they're going to do everything they come back to get the 3-peat. Because how hard it is to
But the problem is...
How hard it is to win 2 in a row to get 3.
Hold on. We said this, though. Who's going to be the guy that want to take a haircut? Plus, you're going to have guys now like trying to pluck away their staff now, because all of a sudden people are like, ooh, Florida... 3 finals in a row. Let's pick that coach. Let's pick that guy in management.
I got you. I mean, they got all that stuff to deal with.
This is their last dance, if you ask me.
Okay. I'm not going to argue with it. I'm just saying now, so who do you think is going to win the cup?
So let's go to our Stanley Cup picks. So last round, I
was
Florida,
terrible.
I picked Florida in 5. You said Carolina in 6. And then I said Edmonton in 7. You said Dallas in 7.
And both series sucked.
So now we have a Stanley Cup Final. Edmonton versus Florida. Who do you got? I'm going to guess your pick is Edmonton in 7.
Can we ask after the first game?
No. I'm going to say Florida in 6.
Really?
Yeah.
I was thinking that too, but I'm going to go with McDavid, and I'm going to take them to do it in 7.
No Hyman. I'm worried about the Skinner factor.
The Skinner factor is huge. I just think that Draisaitl and McDavid are going to drag him across the finish line. Nugent Hopkins is playing some of the best hockey that he's played
good
all year, that he's played well. The defense is holding up. I think the difference is that could lose it for him.
But now Nugent's going to be going up against the Bennett line.
That's okay. He's tough enough. He's quiet tough.
Yeah.
He doesn't get bullied. Remember in his younger career, he got a bit bullied.
Yeah, because he's a little small,
but
slight.
He's gotten bigger. He doesn't get bullied like he did with the kid. And who's on his line to protect him?
He's got Evander Kane. Yeah. Also next year, Nugent Hopkins is going to have the Oilers record for most games played.
Already?
It's going to be his 15th season with that team.
He's been there 15 years? Already?
2011 draft.
So he's 33, right?
No, he's my age. He's 32.
32.
Next year is going to be his 15th.
Yeah, because he played right when he was 18 on, right?
Yep, yeah. Number 1 pick went straight to the show.
Wow. God, give the kid credit for that, man. Give him credit. And he's only 32, 33, like you said.
He's my age, yeah. He's a 93 baby.
He's got 5 years left in that. He's good. He's big, strong, not too many injuries, plays well, give you 30, great second-line center.
He's probably going to be a career Oiler.
Oh, I think so. But he'll have the record for most games played by an Oiler next year.
Yeah, and then the season after, he's going to be the only Oiler with 16 seasons played. So in 2 years, he's going to own all the games played, seasons played with the Oilers records.
Wow, you know what that says? That's the Oilers.
And think of all the guys that played with that team.
I'm just thinking that now. That's an amazing Mr. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. That's, wow.
Yeah.
I always liked him as a player. I always wished he was a little tougher. But
you are what you are.
But he got a great career.
So Florida in 6, you're on Edmonton in 7?
I'm only doing it this way because I'm going to go back to what I seen when Pittsburgh and Detroit did it years ago. So I'm going to say it's going to go that way.
Okay.
Where the other team had won. You know what? Bottom line, bro.
I hope I'm wrong for the record.
Okay. You know what? Another thing, can we take it this step further? Can we just hope for great hockey?
Of course.
Instead of this shit that we've seen.
I think it's going to be a better series than either conference final.
Easily. But did you really, sometimes I think you jinx shit and sometimes I jinx shit. Because remember I said, you know what, I hope that we had remember in the first round, it was so crazy and they're going the second round. We had all those crazy games with all those other teams. And I said, yeah, but sometimes that leads to a bad matchup. And in the semifinals, you get shit games. I wish I had to shut the fuck up.
I think that's also because of this playoff format.
Mind you, agree, but why, you're going to change it?
Mind you, I know they're never going to change it. Mind you, Edmonton Dallas, that would have been a first round matchup if it was 1 through 8, because Dallas was the 3 seed, Edmonton was the 6.
Oh, interesting. But they would have met in the first round.
Yeah.
Well, there's always going to be
one round. Then Colorado LA would have been a first round matchup as well.
Okay. Well, then it's close. I just think the fact is because you brought it up on the last show and you made a pertinent point. The Atlantic Division is a freaking powerhouse.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, at least, it's top heavy, but in terms of the Eastern Conference, all the power comes through the Atlantic. The Metro, they had their time in the sun with Pittsburgh and Washington, but we're past that.
Bye. And we don't even know how those teams are going to come fighting back when you got to consider the teams that miss the playoffs, high marquee level teams.
Yeah.
They're not going to sit around and wait. Do you think that this is going to have a negative effect on the ratings for the hockey playoffs?
I think the finals ratings are going to go up a little bit because I think everyone wants to see if McDavid can finally do it.
I agree with you.
There's going to be a lot of people hate watching Florida.
Okay, so what I don't understand, and this is why when you always say hockey's a niche sport, and I hate it, but something we have to look at very seriously, all the excitement that was garnished over the 4 nations has dissipated.
Largely.
You know what I mean? That all that interest, all of that, we're coming into playoffs. I thought it was overblown anyway to think it was going to carry that much in the playoffs, but I thought it would
part of the problem.
I thought it would be able to sustain some level of.
I think the problem is it was too far away from the playoffs. If it had, you're never going to be able to do that, but like if it had gone like right from Four Nations, like
into the playoffs,
or maybe like at least like a month difference or something,
perhaps.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just interesting because look at the level of hockey by the end of the Four Nations. We had a peak of interest that we haven't had in time. And that's only a four-nation exhibition where we didn't even have the Russians involved.
Well, we got the Olympics next year.
Well, okay, so that's going to overwhelm the NHL again?
What do you mean?
We got the Olympics, so we'll have that kind of a tournament. When we get to the playoffs, that's the key.
The thing is
this is their gold standard. The Stanley Cup is the gold standard. You can't say the Olympics is the gold standard, but everyone's saying it is because it's got a gold.
It's best on best.
Best on best. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that's why I'm starting to understand sometimes where I think that probably Champions League games in soccer are better than some World Cup games.
Oh, for sure. I agree with that.
Don't you know what I'm saying?
Well, because like
club teams.
Yeah, World Cup, it's always like, especially when it's like two European teams playing each other, like they could just be some boring ass games.
You talking about Italy?
Yeah, well, Italy's got to make it first.
Okay.
But I'm talking about when it's like, I don't know.
When Italy kicks it in that square for 10 minutes, you guys are so good at. Yeah.
Spain's great at that too.
Oh, Spain too. Yeah. You were saying they just boot it around for like 3 days. You know what? That's a skill, by the way. That's not something drives you nuts. In any event.
So a few more things for hockey. So going back to our picks. So last weekend, I was 2 for 2 on our weekend picks. So round 1, I was 80%. Round 2, I was 66%. And I was 100% on my picks in round 3. So if you've been taking my bets, hopefully you made a little bit of money.
If you were taking my bets, you probably have to borrow money.
So going by our point system, so round 1 was 1 point, round 2 was 2 points, round 3 was 3 points. I'm up 26-15. So in the finals are going to be worth 5 points, though. So you still have a slim chance to catch up to me.
Yeah. Like Dallas had a slim chance of winning that series. Okay, I got you.
And I mean, this is probably obvious, but if our picks win Conn Smythe, I'm going to say Bobrovsky. I'm assuming you're going to say McDavid.
Oh, yeah, you got to. If they win, McDavid gets everything. However, it's interesting how they you never know. Someone could come out of nowhere and win it. That's happened a lot of times in the Conn Smythe, but not this year. If Edmonton wins it, it's Draisaitl or McDavid, nobody else.
And even for Draisaitl to beat McDavid, he would have to have like a crazy 7 goals in 7 game series or something.
And you think it's pretty well Bobrovsky's if Florida wins no matter what, right?
I would think so. Unless he really chokes in a couple games and they still win.
Like 7-5 games and shit.
Something like that. But I really can't see that happening.
Yeah. I say the average game is going to have about...
It's going to be like 3-2 games, 4-2.
The average over and under will be 3-4. It won't be anything bigger than that, so it should be good. Let's just hope for a great finals. That's all I'm asking for, and it's going to be a little weird this weekend because thank God we got a game tonight, but after this now we got to go into the same
just
thing.
One basketball game, no hockey till Wednesday.
And not only that, it's just like after football season where you thank God you have hockey and basketball to fall back on, but now we just have baseball, which is okay, but for the intensity of games with which we had to go through in the last month, and then nothing is kind of...
Well, we got the Argos coming up too.
Yeah, Toronto FC. Stop it.
Well, one of those teams can actually win. So we got to go across the pond, talk about the IIHF Championship. So Switzerland dominated Denmark 7-0 in their semifinal. Niederreiter had 2 goals there. USA beat Sweden 6-2 in the other semi. Shane Pinto with a goal and 2 assists in that one. So that sets up a final. Switzerland-USA, one that, of course, I'm sure we all predicted. Tage Thompson scored the OT winner to give the USA a 1-0 win over Switzerland, leading them to their first gold medal since 1933 in that tournament. Although technically 1960, because back then the Olympic gold medal would have counted as the world championship, but I digress. USA gets the gold for the first time in a long time. They did a touching tribute to Johnny Gaudreau with the gold medal, of course, which you'd love to see.
Oh, yeah. No, that was absolutely caught me off guard. I even had a little lump in my throat. I thought it was a completely class move to remember somebody who would probably have been on this team one way or another.
You would think.
But anyway, with that being said, in the Americans winning since 33, that game was like watching paint dry. Come on. It was a terrible hockey game. They just skated around to get out of there. Like, what were they doing? Waiting for their plane tickets? I don't know. Good for America. Good for the Goudreau family. All of that. I'm just saying that something happened to the thing. Earlier, it looked like the tournament was going to be interesting. Someone poked a hole in the balloon. My question is this. No, not my question is this. I want to give a massive shout out to, let's say, when I was your age.
Okay.
Switzerland was a place that frickin' dealt money in World War II. Come on, this is look at how far they have come.
Their hockey program is legit. I would say like top 8 in the world now.
Oh yeah, but they threw money. 8, yeah. Money changes everything. They finally took that Switzerland money,
and good for them.
And good for them, exactly. But if you had told me that Switzerland's going to make the finals of a World Hockey Tournament, I'm going to say, give me some of that. Is that a good sativa you got there? Give me some of that. This is Switzerland, bro.
Yep.
This is Switzerland. Can I say that one more time? This is Switzerland made the finals. When they were winning games, I went, well, and God bless Denmark. Denmark's banging on the door, too.
As the host.
Yes. They were banging on the door, too, so we got to give all these places credit. Because you know what? They're all hockey-mad countries.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which I respect. But if you had told me at the beginning of the tournament that it was going to be a Switzerland-U.S. final, God, I should have had that Vegas bet. I wonder what the money was in Vegas on that, eh?
Not nothing.
But congratulations, especially, I mean, America won, and they're becoming, well, they are considered a hockey powerhouse, so them winning it, and since so long is great, especially when it takes so hard to get players to come over at the end of the year and all that other stuff. And Canada had the biggest flop of a long time. But my biggest surprise out of this is Switzerland making the finals.
Yep. And a big shout out to Sweden defeating Denmark 6-2 for the bronze. I'm starting to get worried next year for the States at the Olympics.
Why?
I think they can do it.
I'm not worried about them at all. We're going to bitch slap them into, where's the Olympics again? Italy. What's that, Venice. We're going to bitch slap them in that place where the boats go down the river. You know, when you guide them, we're going to push them on those boats and let them go down that way.
Be careful.
I'm not worried at all because Celebrini going to be our superstar. So we're good.
Okay.
We're good.
Because the States doesn't have anyone good.
No, they have a lot of good players. We're going to win. You watch. We're going to win.
I hope you're right.
Sidney Crosby's last hurrah.
I hope you're right. Brad Marchand's last hurrah?
He ain't on the team.
I know.
I'm going to break his legs. No, I wouldn't. Don't say that. I'm sorry, Brad. I would not want anything bad to happen.
There's a low chance he could still make that team, though.
Come on. Stop it. He's not going to make the team.
Hockey Canada's a boys' club. Don't forget that.
Stop it. Yeah, that's we're figuring that out in London recently. London, and we're not going there. But London
not until there's a verdict. I don't want to bring that up.
There you go. And not only that, you want to talk about the old boys' school in action? Oh, not good. But anyways, we'll discuss that another place, another time.
A few more news and notes for the NHL. Seattle Kraken hire Leafs assistant coach Lane Lambert as their head coach. A bit of a surprise, I would say, considering that his previous stint as head coach did not go over so well on the island, but he gets another chance. I'm honestly wondering about the Seattle team. Like, I don't know. It seems like they're kind of stuck in mediocrity. I don't know if
they're too young. They're trying to figure out their way. That's what are they in the league? 5 years?
Yeah.
Okay, they're still trying to figure it out to me. Because they made this move was wrong, this move that isn't. You know what I mean?
How many wrong moves before Ron Francis is out of town there?
That could be any time there. But you see what happens is that Vegas is the goddamn template. And that's hard to be Vegas.
You can't follow that template. They got lucky.
You damn right they did. So everybody's saying, well, Vegas did it. But here's the thing about Vegas, how strong their management is. It's this many years later. Last time I checked, Vegas were one of the favorites going into the playoffs this year. Who did they lose to? They could probably lose to the eventual Stanley Cup champion. So everyone can't be Vegas.
Oh, agreed.
And Vegas misses the playoffs one year and goes to the finals next.
No, but Seattle's only made the playoffs once. That's the issue.
Way back in their early thing because of that advantage they have. Well, it's management. It's the same as every other team.
I don't know. Hiring Dan Bylsma wasn't the right move this year. Goaltending's been a mess from them pretty much since day one there.
You know what? Do these guys just sit in the bench and watch the game and get so well? Like, you think about it. Lane Lambert, Travis Green. Brendan Moore was above average player. I'm trying to think around the league. Some of these forward guys that end up as being coaches. When I remember them of playoffs, they were like sometimes in the press box.
Travis Green scored some big goals for the Leafs in the playoffs.
No, he did. I mean, he was a solid guy, but he was never more than a great third line guy. Yeah, okay. And what was Lane Lambert? He was no more than a third line guy.
I don't even remember him as a player.
He played for Buffalo and he played for Islanders. Okay, and he was, I think, a first round draft pick. If you're going to check on it, but he wasn't that good. But anyway,
either way, we can't spend too much time on that.
No, we're getting in here. Good luck. We hope the playoffs are great.
The Capitals sent out an email mistakenly to their season ticket holders saying that it would be Ovechkin's last season. How does that happen, bro?
Fired?
Someone's got to be fired.
Head's got to roll.
That's embarrassing.
What is Ovechkin saying?
I imagine he's got to be pretty pissed.
Oh, he's over in Russia living his good life. We know that. But the bottom line,
when
we heard his ears come up. Oh, yeah, come on.
Come on.
That's brutal.
I mean, we kind of figured it would be his last season, but like for it to be exposed like this, like it's embarrassing.
And I don't think that Ovechkin wants to go on a tour.
No, it might turn into that, though.
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying. So you try to avoid it. The greatest retirement of all time, I don't care what anyone says, of any player, of whatever statue is, the Wayne Gretzky retirement.
Oh, the last game in Pittsburgh?
You didn't know about it till 48 hours. The rumor came, and then all of a sudden his dad and his wife showed up at the game with the family. Like, how he kept that under wraps. You're the greatest hockey player of all time. The rumor is you're retiring. Like, don't you remember? You're probably too young.
I was 6 years old. I remember watching that game, but I don't remember. I just remember like, oh, this is Wayne Gretzky's last game. It's a big deal.
But if you look to the lead up to that game, a week before, nobody was talking about Gretzky's retirement. That's why this is so egregious in Washington to have a press release that come out like this. You guys look like idiots. Gretzky said, bye. You didn't even hear bye. He was gone. That was unbelievable. Any player. Think of hockey, basketball, football. Football's a little different because the season ends and you're just gone, but people may know it anyway. But especially these long season sports, like think about that. Gretzky, a week before, nobody was talking retirement. 2 days before, what? Are you kidding me? Bye. Just like that, kid. You weren't there to see it, but ask your parents. I'll tell you, it was so quick. I thought it was cool. It's going to be sad when Ovechkin goes because he was such a great player. But as you go...
all these guys in that era are kind of retiring now, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it's like anything else in life. Father Time is undefeated, so we just have to move on. And I think that we have a stable of solid young players and solid teams that the game will go on and be bigger and better. That's just the way it works.
Yep. And do you want to mention anything about the Leafs?
Of course, I want to mention something about the Leafs. First of all, everybody...
By the way, we've been on for hockey for more than an hour, so let's...
That's great. I'm glad to hear it because pretty soon we'll be talking about hockey. And it's significant that we get
Toronto. There's always going to be something hockey.
That's why you want to do the whole show and just pass by. You know what? First of all, let's get to this right now, okay, everybody? I don't know. I'm not a Leaf fan, so everyone's going to say, Cruz, you're just being the prick that you are. I'm not a prick. I'm a nice guy. However, say things that maybe you may not like, okay? So let's just start off with the Trey Living press conference. What was your opinion of that?
I didn't think it was anything groundbreaking.
Neither did I, but I'm saying you got to dance around the freaking
I think he did a good job keeping things light.
Oh, he had to.
Yeah.
I had to there. So, I mean, he got in and he got out. Okay, scuttlebutt around the city now is, what are you going to do? Well, who are you going to take? What are the free agents? Where are we going? Are we over the disappointment of losing this year? So, my take on the matter...
I don't think you ever get over that as a player.
No, and your fans aren't either. The fans are still pretty well disgruntled. The thing is that I'm going to say this one more time, and then we'll just leave the Leafs alone. In my opinion, the Toronto Maple Leafs are about to take a step backwards, people. It's just the way the game goes. You get so frustrated because you get knocking on that door. You knock louder, and then nobody listens, and you got to change it. Be careful.
Well, it's not even about management, though, because Marner doesn't want to come back.
You know what they do to his family and his neighborhood? I'd get out of town too. That's brutal. When I heard that shit, I'd be saying Marner, because I'm all about him staying. You know me looking for. Okay,
well, don't. You're being a little bit disingenuous with your argument because you're saying, we got to change it. But like, let's be real. The guy who's going to be the biggest difference maker doesn't want to stick around. So it's like doesn't even matter about what management wants in that case.
Okay, so in the last 48 hours since we have talked, and I've seen a couple things on there, I did not realize that this is Marner's decision.
100%.
Okay, so now
he's been given a lot of opportunities to say, at least to leave the door open.
No, you're right. And it's something that came up in the weekend. One of the guys was saying, and you're right. I'm just putting it from your perspective now. I'm not going to be disingenuous. You're going to be sad to see Marner go.
Of course. I'm already getting sad about it.
Okay, that's what that's what I'm saying. That's the business of hockey. The first step in Toronto Maple Leafs taking a step back. You heard it here first. That's all.
Well, okay. Here's my thing, though. Stanley, okay. No, that's not Stanley. That's not a toy.
Okay.
So I will say this. I think the Leafs are going to be smart about this, though. Leafs
In
are
what way?
Leafs are going to get something for Marner, trade wise. Either
sign and trade?
Either a sign and trade, or they're going
Wow.
to trade his rights somewhere. They do not get out of there with nothing.
He's an unrestricted. He can say fuck you June 1st. I say Marner's saying fuck you June 1st.
Yeah, but for the 8th year of a contract,
what?
That'd have to be a sign and trade.
I think he's way too pissed. Some of the shit that I've heard in the last couple of days, it's his family now, bro.
So he's going to turn down something that's mutually beneficial just because of spite?
8 years from now, the $3 million money he's got in the bank, fuck it, he's not going to matter.
This is going to be an extra $14 million we're talking about here.
I hope that he gets everything that he gets in his 8 years. Okay, let's go with there. But what I'm saying is that I'm terribly disappointed where this city is so hockey rabid that you're hearing shit like that going on and that Toronto look good. Any one of those fans that did any of that shit, I hope they get hit by a bus.
I'm not going to go that far. But
I'm going to go that far. Listen, I hate
I would not want to
Marchand.
run into those people, put it that way.
I hate Marchand. If I was driving by and he had a flat tire in his car, yes, I would stop.
Okay, I thought you were going to go Shannon Sharp, but no.
No, I'm not going to go that crazy. You can't be like that. Then I'm being disingenuous, okay? Because there's some things that you have to separate. I don't know. Marchand could be the funniest guy at the party. He could be the guy that gets me the ticket in to see Soundgarden or whatever factor.
He probably is a nice guy off the ice.
Okay, probably. I don't know that. So I only can take my venom based on what I see when he's on skates, okay? Leaf fans should do that too. You harass the man's family. Come on, I have family too, bro.
I know.
But
let's be real, this isn't just exclusive to the Leafs. This is all Canadian hockey fans.
I know it is, but this is next level. And you know what the problem is too? You know why Austin Matthews doesn't get it? Because Austin Matthews...
Oh, thank God nothing in that cup.
Yeah, that's the main thing. The bottom line is, Marner grew up the Leaf guy.
I
and
know.
That's why it's hard, because he's a hometown guy. So what, you double down on your venom on the guy? I'm heartbroken for Marner, but now all I was saying about I'll walk his dog, and come on, there's a chance he'll play for $10 million. All these other bullshit things that I'm saying, maybe you think I'm being disingenuous, but I'm not. I'm saying now that all the things that I've been saying, all the things that I've been hoping for you Toronto people, Cruz, shut up. It's the bus is gone. Train has left the station. Yeah. It's over, and that's sad.
It is sad.
It's really, really sad, because I thought Marner, and you know what? Here's another thing is, he got caught by where he was drafted and the way the contracts came with the salary cap. He got caught in the circle. Nylander came at this time. Matthews came at this time. Tavares was a free agent, and all those were gone different ways, which is smart on management to move them for different years so you don't get tied in with everybody, which Shanahan should get credit for, which he won't. But now what ended up happening? The main hometown guy in the prime of his career, when his turn comes up, guess what happened? Wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Wrong place, wrong time, and it's going to change the history of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And again, I'm going to say they're taking a step back.
I don't think
and you know what's going to really like, bro? And I'm going to say this: when Montreal beats Toronto in the first round of the playoffs next year, whoa, is that ever going to be fun? Now, I won't leave my house.
Hold on.
I live in North Etobicoke. I'll be like last time. I didn't go out for about a few days. I look out my windows, take a look around. People know who I am.
You know what's the best part about that? You've been coming into all these last few seasons, you've been all Leafs. Maybe it's time for you to jinx the Habs.
I ain't jinxing us.
You just did.
No, we're going to do it.
Okay.
Whenever we play Toronto in my lifetime, it's been good times.
Okay.
It's been good times. So maybe the odds are going to change for you. But in my lifetime, 80% to 90%, because you got to think of those seasons when you guys bitch slapped us and we didn't make the playoffs. Yeah. No, even later when we were trying to make the playoffs and you guys beat us and we didn't get in.
Oh, you're talking about like season series as well?
Yeah.
So this year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You're guaranteed that Montreal would beat Toronto in the season series this year.
Okay, but
my mom loves to remind me of that, by the way, that you said that.
Okay, listen, Mrs. Milani, I still love you too. But look, you don't know about that. Look at Ottawa beat you guys in the regular season. Yeah. So what? What happens there? I'm talking about the playoffs, and I'm predicting it now.
Well, you brought up regular season.
Well, that's where you guys have your only advantage with Montreal. In my lifetime, because all the other times it's been fun time. Okay. You know, we'll see what's going to happen.
I hope Montreal wins for their humble fan base.
For the benefit of this show and everybody that knows me and everybody that knows Andrew, would it not be the greatest shows ever if Montreal and Toronto played? Because we started this show a couple of years later. Like, imagine if Montreal.
I think there's a good chance
we'll probably need a referee.
So here's my prediction for the Leafs. This is my way too early prediction for the Leafs next year. I think they still win the division next year. Who's going to top them?
Ooh.
I told you, I think Florida's taking a step back.
And I don't think they'll win the division anyway because they don't care now. They proved it this year. They don't have to win the division. We can still get there.
I don't think they're going to be good enough next year regardless. Tampa Bay,
they're going to make the
frauds.
playoffs.
They might miss Tampa Bay.
Eventually it's going to happen. It's going to be like me with Boston. They're going to miss the playoffs.
Honestly, the only team I think is going to contend with Toronto for the division is Ottawa.
I'm not taking away if they got a good draft and they got guys coming up from the minors that they've developed. So I say Ottawa could be your biggest threat.
Yeah.
I think this is hilarious. So between the two of us, how many times Boston's going to be Boston? They're done. Finally, they missed the playoffs.
Boston could be back in the playoffs next year.
I could, but you know what you're saying about Tampa? I was saying about Boston. Mine came through fruition. Yours has got to come through fruition eventually, right? Because that's just pure hate, bro. That ain't journalism.
I wouldn't say it's hate.
Come on. It's not journalism. It's not objective. I hate. I'm saying it's hate, and I hate Boston.
I just see Tampa for the frauds they are. It's just as simple as that.
HATE. One syllable, two consonants, two vowels. That's what we're doing.
I'm not hating. I'm just observing.
I'm going to pull out the tapes. I'm going to get an editor when I win the lottery tonight, and I'm going to say, can we have the best of Milani on Tampa Bay, please? It'll sound like Haterade. Right. It'll sound like
proven right.
They'll say, who is this guy? Does he ever like that team? It's hate. And at least I'm admitting it.
I liked them for a little bit when they had, Le Cavalier and San Luis.
Oh, yeah, that was fun back in the day. And Tortorella was the coach.
Sure. Tortorella always fun.
One time.
I think that's good enough for hockey. That's an hour 15 on hockey.
You know what, though, everybody in Toronto, we won't be talking about hockey in a month. It's coming to the end of the seasons. We spent a lot of time figuring out how we got here, and a lot of times we were close, and a lot of times we were wrong. But we're sitting on the same seat that you people out there are too. We're just hockey lovers, man. Cut to the chase. We're hockey lovers.
Hockey's my other girlfriend. No.
I would say that, but do you see something sitting against my couch there?
Yeah, you got your guitar.
Yeah, so hockey is an affair. that's my girl. And
like Deion Sanders, football's his wife, baseball's his girlfriend. Yeah. All right, we'll move this into
to the other mayhem that we want to talk about.
Yes, the NBA playoffs, as Oklahoma City is on their way to their first NBA Finals since 2012.
The Harden,
Durant, Westbrook, Ibaka.
Kendrick Perkins.
Yeah, he was the starting center of that team.
Think about that team, and they didn't win.
Well, they were up against LeBron.
Yeah, but they were kind of
LeBron, the big three there.
Yeah.
Those Miami teams were very good.
Should have won more. Should have won more than
two. They were only around for 4 years.
Should have won all four. But that doesn't matter. Let's regress. Let's talk about the period right now. Congratulations to OKC to getting there. I think before I started the playoffs, I predicted them to win it all. Aren't they? Picked to win it all. I'm going to tell you what really, if we're talking hockey, if we're talking football, baseball, all of these sports, you know when the team gets to the next level, they have to.
Oh, no. So you had OKC losing in the finals to Boston.
To Boston, right. Okay, well, we'll talk about those schmucks no more, you fucking loser fucks. But I'm going to tell you why Boston's going to win and why OKC is, why Boston lost and why OKC is going to be there. First of all, let's shout out to the general manager one more time. You can't,
Sam Presti.
Don't drag his dick in the dirt, people. Any franchise in any sport would want this record and the condition you are in a crazy salary cap era. Come 100%. On, man. You got to give that guy that. Number two, all you losers that thought that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was a little aloof. That's the word around the campfire now. No, he's Canadian.
Aloof.
No, you know what they said? Like when he got drafted, then he got traded, and one of the reasons that they got him in the deal for Paul George and shit is everyone knew he was going to be a good player.
Top 10 pick
and everything like that. But they said that he might not have this, whatever this is, okay? Because
our favorite word, intangibles.
Thank you. But the thing is, it's the way that he plays the game that has come to fruition 6 years later in the NBA. That's the way his game is. His game isn't like, he doesn't have to fly through the air. You know what it is? He doesn't have to be demonstrative. He doesn't have to be screaming at the ref for
doesn't have to be jacking up threes every 2 seconds.
He doesn't have to jack up three every 2 seconds. He's just the perennial eel through seaweed, people. Did you see some of the moves he's made this year?
I love watching Shea because he's a little bit of a throwback. He'll like slips and slides to get his way to the hoop. Isn't afraid to take the long two, even though analytics says don't do that. But I say if you're making those shots, then why not?
Well, okay, so let's take it one step further. There was a big argument this week about Shea getting too many. Oh, does he get the calls? Too many times going to the line. Well, we all
Isn't that the star treatment in the NBA?
No, either you get it or you don't. So let's just talk about it. When Minnesota's jacking up 51 threes and making 9, and Ant-Man's out on the perimeter for 40% of the game, and you're wondering why he's only going to the freaking charity stripe 1/3 of the time that Shea is, well, guess what? Shea's spending 4 times the amount of time that Ant-Man is in the paint. People, it's very basic. I love it. I think I told you this last week, and Isaiah Thomas is doubling down on this hard. This is 80s basketball light. It is, or 80s, 90s basketball light, because they're letting them play more than I've ever seen them play, like in years. Like, you know what I mean? But if Shea goes in there and you bang into him, or you pull on his arm, or you tug on his jersey, that's called a foul. I heard Wilbon, I heard Greeny, I heard Brian Windhurst. Who else am I talking about? Jay Will, Reggie Jefferson. Is it Reggie Jefferson? And Reggie Miller all talk about the art of drawing fouls. It's as old as the game.
Sure.
If you go into the paint and shit happens, you're going to go to the charity stripe. So Shea's doing it. Michael Jordan didn't do it. Kobe didn't do it.
LeBron.
End of stories. So if you can draw it, because what you're saying, if your shot's not making it, I heard Kendrick Perkins say it the other day, and it was so cool. He goes, if Paul Pierce was cold, he's going to find 75 ways to shoot foul shots. Because that's all part of it. You got to be smart enough to be a defender to get away with that. And I think that's the key about OKC. You notice when they're going in, arms and bodies stay away. Like, they're in tight, but you know what I mean? They got that weird defense about them. So when you got that defense factor, playing old school, Dort, who's now Defensive Player in the Year, and a win over Denver. I cannot say enough why that win over Denver, to me, is the key that unlocked the door to the championship. Don't you agree?
Well, that was the big. We talked about this then. Like, we're like, whoever wins that series probably wins the championship.
Okay, so now that we're here, what did they do? Minnesota looked like a freaking stepping stone. Okay, now let's cut to the chase.
They've been doing a lot of that the last couple of years now.
Okay, so then when they get to the real deal, what happens? Thanks for coming out. So listen, there's a lot.
Credit to Minnesota. They got over. Where everyone thought they'd be done after that Karl Anthony Towns trade. Rebounded quite well. It took them a little while to get there throughout the season. But hey, conference finals, 2nd year in a row, nothing to sneeze at.
I'm going to say this, okay, before I go on about Minnie, but there's going to be a little debate about this when it's over. I thought Boston was going to win the championship again.
Oh, everyone did.
Okay.
At least us two.
Okay, well, a lot of people did, but they're arrogant, 3-point shooting, racist city motherfuckers got your asses burnt, and I couldn't give a shit, And now I hope Tatum comes back, Godspeed, because you guys are on the verge of creating some kind of dynasty. But what they based it on, we'll shoot threes all day, people. We'll shoot threes all day. Well, guess what happened when you missed them? You become the Minnesota Timberwolves. Did you see their percentage of shooting threes against OKC? You thought that the way was to come back against the best defensive team in the league? Oh, and the best defensive perimeter metrics in the league. You're going to shoot 51 threes and score 9, and you're out in 5 games?
That's unbelievable.
Part 2, Ant-Man. I like you. I used to say I loved you.
Oh!
I used to say I loved you, but I like you a lot. Okay?
Uh-oh. Are you falling out of love with Ant-Man?
No, I never said I loved you. I said I liked you a lot. Okay, let's get.
You said you used to say I love you.
The guy's freaking amazing. However, you have to change. It could be like a young Kobe too, and he evolved too. Did you see Ant-Man's attitude towards these losses?
Yeah.
Do you hear him in the press conference? I don't want my 23-year-old talking like you, man. You scare me. Oh, I'm only 23.
Yeah, a little lackadaisical.
I can get I made the right decisions during the game. Well, why did you only take 14 shots during the whole game, buddy? I thought you were a superstar, face of the league. You only took 14 shots. Why? Because when guys got in your face, you passed it off, so you were worried about your shooting percentage? And man, grow up real quick.
Yeah.
Because you got Shea. Shea never said a word. You know what I mean? Shea had 14-point nights in the playoffs. Then what happened? 12 assists,
well, yeah,
2
I was
steals.
going to say, he's also filling up the stat sheet in other ways.
Okay, like he's realized not my night, or all of a sudden Jaden Williams is a guy scoring 28 points because let's feed him, he's wide open. Oh, suddenly Holmgren has a 24-point night. Why? Let's bash it inside. Because my point is, when I brought up Boston, their way is, and same with Golden State, it was you can shoot your way through the finals. Not all the time.
No.
And this has proven it on OKC. And I think that OKC, but we said this last year, let's knock wood because they haven't won anything yet. I think we're going to see this OKC team stick around for a while. They're like,
and I think Shea's going to be the face of the league. Or he's definitely got the chance to be.
But then he's got the other guys on his team to jump in with him too. Because look at the age of the team. What, third youngest or fourth youngest team in the league?
Oh, one of the best starting lineups in the league. Then there's such a tight-knit group as well, which I love.
That you can't. They call them the AAU guys. I went, what? That's hilarious. They're the AAU guys. I've heard like big old school guys and new guys all call them the AAU team. And I go, what does that tell you? Those AAU teams are freaking like glue.
Yeah.
Okay, so to say that's going on with this lineup, with this age, I'm hoping it happens because Shea is one of one. And and I'll get back to it. It's old school basketball. You can win with defense and shooting high percentage shots in the paint. You can go to Harkenstein and you can go to Holmgren and win. Because what was Minnesota? They were frauds. Look, let's think about it.
Oh, Gobert disappeared this series.
They freaking, what did they do? They played him to the bench. we don't need that guy. Last year's Defensive Player of the Year, we do no sense in putting him in the lineup. He's an embarrassment for what we're doing. Go sit down. That's what happened to Gobert.
Well, he had a pointless night. He had like a 2-point night.
The two big men were making him come out in the perimeter, and then guys like Shea were going around him. Guys like we're going. He just and Naz Reid, another defensive thing. That guy
last year's Sixth Man of the Year.
Did not play his game. He started trying to do things that he normally do, like putting the ball on the floor too much, causing turnovers. This OKC team is just unbelievable. They made him useless, but here's the biggest thing that came out of this, okay? First round of the playoffs, they played the Lakers. Who'd the Lakers have in the center? Nobody. Okay, then they played Golden State. What happened there?
Oh, Curry got injured, and that was the series.
Nobody. Now they come to their third round. They're playing a team that just had 7 games of freaking
Denver.
Save Private Ryan action against them, and
Normandy
they won
Beach.
Normandy Beach action. Okay, for 7 games. If they come and see you, guess what? You look like they were reloading their guns. Get out of here. And it was just ridiculous because now if you thought that was going to get you through with your Ant-Man guy not scoring because Julius Randle got taken out of the game.
Yep.
First 2 series they were talking about, and you know what? God bless Michael Wilbon. Michael Wilbon said the only way that Minnesota could win the series is if Julius Randle is the difference.
And he was the difference, but not in a good way.
Then Wilbon come back and said, sometimes when you have a take, it goes this way. What did I say? If, Wilbon was going, if he did this, well, guess what? He didn't do it.
Well, in that case, it made him a true X Factor.
What's that?
It made him a true X Factor.
That was the bottom line. He was a true. I felt bad for him because I've liked Julius Randle since his days in college.
Oh, me too. I've always
liked him from LA too. But it is true. If you watch it, they watch the tape. If he goes left and puts it on the floor, he's in trouble. They made him go left. They just put the defense where he only had to go left. And who was in his face? Harkenstein or Holmgren. Now, those guys don't have to be as strong because look, Randall's going to knock Holmgren on his ass.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Okay, thick butt. All Holmgren has to do is get in the way. You know what I mean? Put your hand up. Block a shot. You don't have to be the biggest, thickest guy. Just get in the way. And he did when he was going around the other side. Who's sitting there waiting for him? Harkenstein. Yeah. And Owen, who was underneath him to cover him to glow down on the switch? Dort. What did Randall do in the series?
Not much.
I feel sorry for him. I really did. But I think this is a big coming up. It's for Minnesota, and that's 2 years in a row getting to the conference finals. Congratulations to that. Nothing that's ever happened in the history, so you got to still give Ant-Man credit. My next prediction, they will not go to the conference finals next year.
Probably not. I mean, although it's still so early, off season.
When's the last team went 3 times in a row?
Conference final?
Yeah. Only Cleveland and
Cleveland,
those guys
Golden
and
State,
Gate guys, but other teams that's done it. Now we've got the 7th year in a row we're going to have a different team champion. which tells you that
first time in league history.
There you go. 7 times in a row where you haven't had an American player that's MVP. Huh. Okay, so what is that just telling you? A couple things I learned and I wanted to say, brought it up. Do you agree with this statement when we said this in the production? A very high-level guy, I want to know who it is. I'm trying to think. Is it Palinka in L.A.? Is it Morley? But somebody very high up in the NBA said, here's the problem with American players. Not only do they start their brand in AAU, is he says that compared to European and Canadian, compared to the Americans, is that we promote basketball. We don't educate it. I heard that statement, bro. I fell off my couch. I never heard it phrased like that. You know what I mean? We don't teach the game. We promote the game. Wow. So what ends up happening? If you're coaching a kid and you suddenly get in the kid's face and he's on AAU and next level, he's getting NIL money. When does the coach get to be hardcore?
Yeah, exactly.
When do you teach discipline? When do you teach that you got to play for a team?
As a Canadian, I'm not terribly upset at this because it shows that there's a chink in the armor.
Yeah. Oh, no. Of course, we're outside the circle looking in. Hey, that's your problem, not our problem. Think how they're coached in Europe. Think how they're coached here at the place out in Cambridge or whatever. What do they call that? The
BioSteel. Or it's not called that anymore, but either way.
Well, what I was the development camp here, like how they think old school. They teach old school. Here, they start, what's your brand?
Oh, in the States, you mean?
Yeah, in the States. We start with your brand.
Yeah, it's the wrong way to go about it. That's like, I don't know. Your brand is like, should be like a little bit down the list.
I want my ring.
Yeah.
And then I'll worry about everything else later. You know what I mean? Be Sidney Crosby. You know what I mean? Like, first we get rings and then we'll worry about everything else. Kobe, let's get rings and everything else. Even though even Kobe's a completely different example. God bless his soul when you think about his whole career. But the bottom line is you got to look at yourself as a team first, win first, and then we go from here. Now it's me, I. You know what I mean? And who's going to win the MVP next year? There's a lot of Americans that I think that could be in line to do it. You know what I mean? Like the guys that are supposed to be underrated that are coming along to move it next.
Well, and Tatum still hasn't got one.
Tatum, Ant-Man, Ja. Who am I missing? I'm missing someone huge. That's American. Cade. Okay, go.
Could be on his way up there.
It could be on, but right now, I'm just saying that it's another thing that happened in basketball that happened in hockey. We had such great early series. You get the wrong matchup later, what do you got?
Well, the other Eastern Conference.
We haven't got there. I'm just going to end on the Western Conference. It ended on a
whimper.
Did it not? You know what I mean? With all the talk, with all the stuff. I'm cheering for OKC more now than ever. I want them to win. And I'm saying that just rubs you the wrong way. It's like, I don't want to call it American arrogance or whatever you want to call it, but I love the way that Ant-Man plays the game, but he showed a few characteristics that maybe you better brush those away, kid. I don't want you talking like that. Not even Ja. Ja's crazy with all his shit, but Ja doesn't. Ja, I want to win now. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. Like, we hear when Ja, I'm 23. I'm going to have all kinds of time. I'm going to be back to lots of these. Oh, I'm going to tell you.
Maybe not.
Call up Dan Marino.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, just call up a Dan Marino. Hey, how does this work? Talk to Charles Barkley. You know?
We talk about a bunch of basketball examples. Gary Payton, Malone, John Stockton.
Me as a guy who's hardcore or loves hardcore players, when you
Ewing, Miller, Reggie Miller.
When you hear a guy who I've been championing for the last couple of years as he was on his way up, watch this guy. This guy gonna be the greatest. I love this guy. He's amazing. He's this. He's that. He's this. He's a little young. This is your second year in the conference finals, buddy, and you're talking like this at 23. Grow up time. Grow up time right now. Not yesterday, not the day before. Right now, you got to grow up because that's just that me is an old, and I'm an old man. I'm championing you as a player. I'm championing you as a character guy. I'm championing you as this, and then you say this at a press conference. Then how do I back you?
Yeah, you got to hope that there's someone in his corner that can kind of be like, hey, buddy, can't be talking like that.
Can't.
That's the wrong attitude.
You can't, because you know what it takes away? It gets back to the complacency of America and why
arrogance.
and arrogance and why they don't want to have a championship with the world against America. Don't want to affect my brand. I think it's more about my brand, because then you gotta battle all the other Americans for your place in that team. Don't forget that shit's going on.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? What's coming home? Like Tatum and Halliburton are coming home with two different attitudes about going to the Olympics, aren't they?
Yes, definitely.
Well, that's what I'm talking about right there. God bless America and all. Now, which gets us to the other series where we get to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs Dallas Cowboys of the NBA, your New York Knicks. What's happening tonight, bro?
I think Indiana finishes them off tonight.
In all the years of hockey, basketball,
Knicks look like frauds.
Oh, they do. You know what I mean? And once all the New York crowd got crazy, you notice that the Pacers sat down and just said, okay, let's get on the plane home. McAfee's got some weed and some food waiting for us. We'll be good. All right.
Is weed even legal in Indiana?
I don't know.
I don't think it is. I think he's talked about that in the show.
I know, but he backpedals so many times. So what's he doing? See, he's a wake and bake guy. Ever see some of the shows he starts? I'm a stoner. See McAfee's eyes?
No.
Or what's his name? Don, the Boston guy with the mullet.
Oh, yeah.
Look at stoners, no stoners. I look at them and I go, wow, you're on national TV like that. I love you. But anyways, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the Indianapolis Pacers.
But this one, I mean, maybe fraud's a little bit strong, because considering if the Knicks did not blow that game one, we are talking about a completely different series here.
Oh, 100%. But you blew that game.
Crazy, though.
You will now be an asterisk in the history of sports. Oh, that never happens. What's a never? Oh, the New York Knicks just did a never. The New York Neverbockers. Okay? Like, what happened there? They're never going to live it down. Now, here's the other thing is, and they're trying to do it. Like, they don't use Precious Achua. I seen him on the floor the other night. And I said, oh, yeah. Precious plays.
Yeah, you forget he's on the team.
That's how Tibbs. You know what I heard Kenny Smith say?
Tibbs is a stubborn, you know what.
Tibbs, do you know what Kenny Smith said the other night? And everybody fell off the coach. It's the greatest line of the week in the playoffs. He goes, do you haven't heard the line?
No.
Tibbs would have trouble playing 9 guys on a baseball team.
That's actually pretty good.
Isn't that a great line? Line of the playoffs. Tibbs would have trouble playing 9 guys on a baseball team.
Because he loves his 8.
He loves it. That's what I'm saying. And they're not even getting up. Look at the point. Look, we went through it last week, and it got more exasperating as the week go on. Look at the numbers. Isn't that a funny line?
That's funny.
I fell off the couch. I seen it live. I was watching live when he said it. The whole world exploded. Apparently went nuts on Twitter, whatever. But the bottom line is, you look at the minutes played on both teams. Matherin came off the bench fresh.
Our Canadian boy,
and tightened up for game 4 just to make it just to put the period on the sentence. This guy comes off the bench, 18 minutes, gives you 12. What about the guy that made all the threes in the game 1? I forget his name. Nebrant or whatever. You know, the kid that made all the threes coming down the stretch. He wasn't even a starter.
Naismith.
Is that his name? Naismith? Yeah. Anyway, he's not even a starter. Or is he? Yeah, he's a 6th man or something.
Yeah, he comes off the bench.
Yeah, and they did all of that. What is the Knicks doing? Coming down the floor slow. Jalen Brunson.
Oh, sorry, you're thinking of a Nemhard?
Yeah, Nemhard. Yeah, that's his name. Anyways, look at ISO ball never wins championships.
Nope.
What do New York Knicks do when they get in trouble?
Give it to Brunson.
Brunson ISO. Cat ISO. Mikal Bridges ISO. Josh Hart goes ISO.
Makes no sense for those last 2 guys to do it at all.
You see him doing it though, don't you?
It's ridiculous, though.
And
Brunson, Towns, I can kind of get it. Those other 2, come on.
No. And they're putting the ball on the floor way too much. Okay, so now what we got to say is this. And Obi's doing what an Obi's supposed to be doing.
Agreed.
If everybody played, when this series is over, if everybody played their average, the New York Knicks should have won this series. And Obi's doing his average shit, and he's playing above average on defense because a couple times when Tyrese Halliburton didn't have his game, who was a switch off on him? And Obi was a switch off on him, you know what I mean? Because Obi had to go after Siakam. So when he's switching, he's going from Siakam to Halliburton, the 2 best scorers on the team. So Anobi's doing Anobi things, okay? Too much ISO from Brunson. Too much New York ball when he gets mad for those ticky-tack fouls that he gets in the first half. Then you got to sit in the second half because you're in a little bit of foul trouble. Brunson's got to stay away from that. New York defense is almost non-existent, and they should call them Indiana because they don't have no D at all. They just run, and God bless them for doing this. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure.
You know, which gets me back to my original thing when I was shouting out to Jamie Foxx about this, is that people should take the time to realize these 4 teams, 3 of these teams, okay, Seattle, as OKC, these teams haven't even won championships.
Yeah.
This is all brand new avenues for all of these times. This should be a great time for us to be talking about, look at all these franchises getting in the door.
And either way, like all 4 of these teams haven't even been to a final in a long time. Well, in the case of Minnesota, they've never even been to a final.
Thank you very much. And what are we talking about? Other shit not at the house that happens. So we're not. We're going to say that. I think that this championship series could be a bit of a low ratings game.
100%. Unless New York gets in.
No, they're not getting in. Okay? So guess what? OKC doesn't care how fast you play, how many players that you can come off your bench, because we're going to have a rotation of 10, and we do play defense, and we don't rely on the 3. This is a recipe for freaking a sweep if Indiana gets to the finals.
Oh, I would not go that far.
Did you hear what I just said? Did you hear what I just said? Was I stuttering?
Consider this, though. We've been wrong about Indiana the whole way through. None of us picked Indiana for any of these series.
Sorry, McAfee. He's right. Did you hear his rant? They didn't show it on TV. Did you hear his rant at the game?
Yeah, I did.
Is that not hilarious?
I thought that was a little
over the top.
Yeah,
because he's a wrestling guy. What do you expect? They gave him the microphone unannounced. He did not. He thought they were going to go, hey, Pat, you at the game tonight? How you doing? You enjoying the game? Got your wife here? And they said, hey, Matt, can you do something for us? Give us a promo. He said 40 seconds before he did not know what to say. But he kind of said, well, I'm McAfee. Well, I'm in my house. What am I going to do? Call him out. It was fun. It was entertainment. Ben Stiller's got a little upset. Ben, you've cut people up in your day. Shut up. It was in Indianapolis. I'll go home with your ears ringing. I love that line. Loved it. Wish I thought it myself. Because you know what that means? Fuck you, go home. And you know what, though? For the greater good of basketball, it puts Indianapolis on the map. And look at all those people that were in your crowd.
No. What put it's Indiana on the map is them winning, not McAfee. Come on.
No, not McAfee. I'm saying the respect that they're getting from McAfee's got nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
I'm talking about all those New Yorkers that showed up in Indianapolis to support their team.
Yeah.
What other time would they be going to Indianapolis?
Well, that just has to
Never.
do with that just has to do with them being in a big playoff game.
Yeah, and I love that, though. And I think that's the gamemanship. So McAfee calls them out for being in their house. Come on, let's have a little fun with this. You're never going to see Ben. When's Ben Stiller going to be in Indianapolis again? When's the Bob Dylan dude ever going to be in there again?
Timothy Chalamet, you mean?
Yeah, it was Fat Joe was there, too, I think. Who else? When are these New Yorkers ever going to be in Indianapolis again? Spike Lee. You know what we got to do in the weekend? Let's drive up to Indianapolis. Well, I don't know. They got Hoosiers. Stop it. So I thought it was fun. I don't know. Spike Lee took it in stride.
Oh, Spike Lee is whatever, Spike Lee.
Exactly. He takes everything he's going to get because, his history with the New York Knicks. I'd be happy for one day. And you know what even he said? See what Spike Lee's latest quote is?
No.
I'll give away an Oscar for the New York Knicks to win a championship.
That's funny.
That's amazing. That's why they're there. So when all that gamemanship comes up, I think it's fun. Okay, so now
I don't think it's gamemanship. That's just like extracurricular shit.
So I would do it. You gave me a mic. We're beating the Toronto Maple Leafs. Going in 5 minutes left in the game, and you hand me a microphone? What do you think I'm going to say?
Okay.
Welcome to Etobicoke.
I thought we were friends.
Well, we are, but
you're going to tell me fuck you then?
I'm not going to say.
That's what you said it was, though.
I'm going to say something like, Milani, you can come into my house, but you got to sit in the backyard. Okay, I would say something like, "Come on, you think you're gonna give me a microphone with that, and I'm in that position? You think I'm gonna be diplomatic?"
Well, I don't think they are going to give you a microphone for that reason.
I think they're never going to do it again. You hear what Peter Schrager said?
Yeah, he ripped him apart.
Yeah, well, he didn't rip him apart, but he gave him a hard time.
Yeah.
He goes, in the history of sports, this has never happened on any level, on any field, at any time. And I went, McAfee, call up Guinness, get in the record book. It's crazy to let him do it, though, right?
Yeah, it is crazy.
It was crazy, but what was he supposed to do? We're getting off topic. Let's get going. We just got McAfee. What was he supposed to do, though, bro?
I don't know. That should have been more prepared, though. I think that's a fault of the Indiana Pacers more than anything.
I wonder if the organization says don't do that again, do you think?
Probably. They're probably like, we don't want this again.
Okay, and McAfee kind of went on his show. Like, he owned up to it. He owned up to it. And when Schrager came on the show with him, and Schrager was still going, hey, bro,
What was that?
Yeah, what are you doing? But then when McAfee explained it to him, and he goes, yeah, I made it.
Okay, we're getting off topic.
Anyways, what we're talking about is the Indianapolis, New York thing and the difference between the two of them. And if New York goes home, who gives a fuck? Let's get Indiana in the door so they can get swept by OKC.
Okay, so you're going to say it's going to be an Oklahoma Thunder sweep in the finals.
Gentleman sweep.
OKC in 5.
At the most.
I'm going to say OKC in 6 either way.
And you're taking Indy, so we're all saying Indy gets there. What happened if New York happens to win?
I think it's in 6 either way.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
New York will be right out of gas. They'll get swept.
No, I don't think it's sweep.
Can you imagine if, you know what, in a weird way, I'm hoping that New York wins tonight. And then
they might.
The Toronto, Florida thing. Let's go back to their house and bitch slap them in their own house. That's what I'm thinking would be fun. Can you imagine New York City on Monday night if there's a 7th game?
It's going to be crazy.
They'll have police security around Madison Square Garden for 3 blocks. They're going to have something come out in the city, like to protect it. Like, imagine what's going to go on there. Look what happened when they just won the last round.
I know.
Huh.
I
think that's pretty well enough basketball, don't you think?
Well, a few WNBA things.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah. But I mean, I think there was a couple other small little things that I wanted to say that came up about this.
First, we're already 2 hours into the show.
Okay, then when everything will close down. 2 things that really I think are going to be that is drives me nuts about the sports is the hockey ratings took a bit of a dip in the playoffs. And the basketball player ratings took a little bit of a surge. After the whole season of all the shit that we talked about, aren't humans dumb? Me included.
Well, it depends on the markets as well. New York being in there,
I go for
helps.
the quality of the games, and I hope that they get better.
But you're watching all of them, so at the same time.
Yeah, but still, you know what I'm saying? The thing that I hate is happening because I was so hoping for hockey. Like, this is the year we're going to go right up the top, and I was worried about little shit that I talked about.
Again, it's the markets for hockey too, right?
Sometimes I don't want to listen to the shows that we do in the past because I hear myself say something and going, that's the jinx.
Like
that's
what?
the jinx. Like when I was talking huge about everything's going to be great, but I hope if this market gets in or something happens, its ratings might take a dip. And I'm looking up at the things and go, oh, God, they took a dip. I love hockey, bro.
Yeah, me too.
I've been championing it more in basketball this year, more than I've ever done. And look what we're going to get to the end. But I think in my opinion right now, I think both ratings are going to take a dip this year. Unfortunately.
The Stanley Cup Finals, I think, are going to be rated higher than last year because of the rematch factor.
Oh, yeah, I think it will be. Yes, let's hope. Knock that.
Yeah.
But I think the other factor is, and when OKC's up 3-0 on Indianapolis in the finals.
No, if it's OKC, Indiana, sorry, NBA. But for WNBA, big shout out, Angel Reese, fastest WNBA player to reach 500 points and 500 rebounds. Caitlin Clark, we got to talk about her injury, and Indiana game ratings have been down 40% without her in the lineup.
Wow.
Just tells you how much she moves the needle. That's insane.
Okay, well, I'm going to take it one step further here. When a few of those other NBA players that shot their mouths off about how it's going to be in the next 2 weeks, I hope they're backpedaling right now. Number 2 thing is, we brought up Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. We only brought them up in context of what they did as players. Can we keep it like that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at. So what I'm really saying is that, what's her name that spent time in Russia? Maybe you should go back to the gulag over a couple of things that you've said about Caitlin Clark. Teresa, what do you say her name? Taurasi. Now that you're out the door, don't be yelling things back in the door at Caitlin as you're leaving, because that just sounds like sour grapes to me. I've never seen a player do so much for a league that takes so much shit. That's my bottom line. That's all I'm going to say.
Agreed.
But the only thing that concerning me is that there's only a 32-game schedule in the WNBA.
40 game, isn't it?
Close to 40, but half the NBA schedule, right?
Yeah.
Caitlin looks like she's going to miss the next 4 to 5 games. They've already lost 1, and they played 2 playoff contenders within those 5 games. Suddenly, you're 5 games under 500 like last year. Remember, the fight to get there is sometimes tougher than when you get there. So you want to have the whole season so you can glide through things like, say, the Florida Panthers can do and shit like that. So I'm hoping that she's Godspeed back from her injury just for the playing capacity to keep Indiana a competitive team.
Agreed. And last but not least, Cameron Brink bringing up the issue of WNBA roster sizes. I did not know this, but their roster sizes are only 12. which is pretty insane. Like our college teams for Humber are bigger rosters.
The $40 million, I've been doing a little snooping around. Remember, since the production show, and you were saying that, I go, there's got to be a reason why. There's got to be a reason why. What they hang over the WNBA's head all the time is this $40 million, $20 million they lost last year.
Yeah.
The league never makes money. So is there a correlation between playing more players and losing money? Is that it?
But these are, I don't know, but like
you're not driving coach anymore. You're getting real airplanes,
Yeah.
so that's an upgrade. So couldn't you add an extra? If you're going to put that money onto the schedule, couldn't you put another money on for another player? You know what I mean? Just think of that alone.
Yeah.
Air travel costs money. Players cost money. So if you're going to go up, I think the air travel costs more than adding another player, which would be better for your competitive balance.
Sure.
Injury alone. So what did they do with Caitlin's
Well, that's the big
case?
thing, 'cause,
they
like,
just
players
call
have been-
somebody off the street, right? And then they kick you to the curb when
yeah.
they're done, right?
And players have been coming in making, like, having big performances, but these are players that are just going to have to be cut in a couple weeks. That's the thing.
That's a bitch, man.
Yeah, it sucks.
And there's not even a practice squad, so you can't go back and make money
No
on the
farm
past.
team.
No farm team. No. Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch, girls. That's the cold, hard business fact of sports, people. So when we're talking about the glory, the rings, the fun, the playoffs, the endorsements, the jerseys, there's a cold, hard fact that people are trying to make money that coldly in a league. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to change?
I don't know. Because the league keeps expanding, which is the weird part about it.
Oh, okay. Guys speaking English here? Okay, so let's add the three factors up. I'm not good at math. Let's add up these three factors. You lost $20 million. You've never made no money. You decide you can drive your own planes instead of going coach. You're going to expand so you have more teams, but you can't increase the rosters? Bro, that's just weird shit.
It is weird shit.
Come on.
I think the league will start making money pretty soon, though. Their
okay.
profile's growing.
Okay, the profile's growing. Okay, got you.
I think a city like Toronto, I think we're going to get behind our team, which is
I
definitely
think,
gonna be good for the
first a
league.
couple of years we will, and we'll go out for sure when we're going to go see Caitlin. But anyways, listen. Rick, let's roll the tape back about 4 minutes ago. What did you just say with Caitlin being gone from the team? What did you say?
The ratings were down 40%.
How do you make more money when you just lost 40% in a short period of time right there? That's the issue. So what I'm saying is that I think that the WNBA, whose profile was going up comparably to their level, suddenly got a freaking phoenix or a comet and shot them up here even further. Where are they going to find their balance? That's what I'm saying. And it's got nothing to do with Caitlin Clark. It's not her fault that she's this freaking great.
No.
Come on. And it's not her fault. I won't say the next part. Okay. I'm not going to say the next part.
Growth isn't always
people.
Growth isn't always linear, though.
100%. Great line. Maybe that's the name of the show. Right there. Growth isn't always linear, is it? No, you're not. I just put my plants in the backyard. I seen what happened in 2 days when they got out of the pot. Wow. That wasn't linear. I got to crop those little babies, but that's another story. In any event, we're going to keep a very close eye on the WNBA because you know what I've been saying, bro? You know what happens now? With all the sports cutting down and stuff, and I got 2 baseball games and there's 1 game on, and there's a WNBA game on, I leave it on one of the screens now. Trying to recognize a player. Someone coming out and saying Paige Beckers is going to be the greatest basketball player of all time. What do you think of that one?
That was Taurasi.
Yeah, okay.
As a low-key dig at Caitlin.
So I'm saying the back door yelling, open up the door and yelling back in as you're going. I think what's her name? The Russian, she spent all that time over there. Griner. All that empathy we had for you. And girl, you should never have gone through any of that. How said happened said that. Now you're home making money. You can shoot your mouth off that quickly about somebody else? After all the things that you say are wrong on a social justice kind of thing, okay? So we can't be sympathetic about that with you there, girl. And then you walk over and say the shit and they're not even allegedly things that she said.
Okay, then, well, let's not get into that then.
The crowd heard it. The crowd heard it. There's people heard it. Everybody heard it, okay? We can only say alleged because we're not in a court of law. Okay, everybody heard it, bro. You know everybody heard it. They just can't say it. Can you prove that she said it? Well, we heard. Okay, thank God no microphones are on the side that could pick it up from the crowd. But come on, we know she said some shit. Okay, so how? And I'm not backing down from that. You know what I mean? Or I'm not going to say, oh, this or
Right.
that. You can't be both ways, people. This woman's making you money. You know, she can't help it if she's this type of person. You know, that's called genetics. She good. You're 7-foot giraffe because of genetics. Girl, make money, shut up, keep all that stuff away. That's all I'm going to say.
I think that's a good spot as any to move off the NBA, WNBA, and we'll go into Major League Baseball. The Jays continue their losing ways in Tampa Bay, getting swept there once again. However, they rebound with the win, 2 wins out of 3 against Texas, and then 2 wins to start versus the A's this weekend, including a 12-0 drubbing on Thursday.
First of all,
and also a big shout out, Ernie Clement tying a franchise record with 5 RBIs in an inning that was in the 2nd inning of Thursday's game.
Brightest spot in the whole Blue Jay season, Clement. I was worried about his hitting. Brightest. Tell me who's been brighter.
George Springer.
Oh, he's a comeback. We expected him that, so I'll tie.
Okay.
I'll tie because Springer, we were hoping he would come back and give us. He's giving us more than we expected. So Springer, you're there. We're great. Okay, and we'll talk about Vladdy in a minute. Okay, Clement's done more because I said if this guy could hit, he's like a platoon player. Let's go back to my preview. He's hitting a little bit more now. Was he hitting about 280, 270? Back-to-back games with home runs, and his defense is great.
Yeah, he's hitting 273.
273. When is that guy thought we'd be saying 273 coming out of him at the end of May? Now, he needs a few more at-bats to get into qualify for anything, but he's going to get them as it is. But let's just say something about the Blue Jays that's particularly interesting right now, bro, and you're going to like this because here's something that we said before the season that we didn't get, and here we are. First of all, this is tomorrow. They're going to be 500 on June 1st.
Well,
yes, they are. We're one game over.
I guess,
We're going to be 500 June 1st. So my prognosis, number 1 is great. We're 500 on June 1st. So
how's our run differential?
Okay, so don't bring that up. You're just spoiling my party. You just spit my coffee. Stop it. We'll talk about run differential in a month. Okay.
Okay.
First of all, okay. Now, you being the jinx that you are, we're Santander.
How's that jinx? I just called it.
Where is Santander?
He's on the IL now.
The contract nobody wanted, playing second base. Where's he now?
He's injured.
Seems that all the other guys with some sort of potential are stepping up and keeping us in line to have a shot at the playoffs. Don't you think?
I don't know if I really buy this, though.
I'm going to tell you why you don't buy it. That Texas-Toronto game was everything bad about baseball. Great pitching? No. Horrible hitting.
Yeah.
Errors.
1-0,
bad base
2-0
running.
games.
Guys couldn't hit shit. They just threw breaking balls and watched guys miss. It was horrible baseball.
Oh, the worst game there was the one that Eovaldi left. I'm like, oh no, this is the Jays' worst nightmare. They're going to have to play the bullpen the rest of the game.
Yeah. You're jinxing the team again. Watch what you say. I'm keeping you accountable for the things that you have done to the Blue Jay team.
What's the difference between being a jinx and...
Say that. They're going to be wonderful coming out of that. Say wonderful things.
No, that's a jinx if I say that and they lose.
Okay, people that are listening, we're going to have a jinx factor put into the house that happens here right now because I have been guilty, I will admit, but I think my accomplice has been worse. Jinx.
I'm being analytical.
Okay, so my thing is this. I'm going back to my theory. First of all, we're 500 June 1st. The Cruz box check. Number 1.
I didn't realize 500 teams make the playoffs.
No, I said we got to be 500 at least by All-Star time so we won't have shit games all summer and it gives us a chance at the end. Detroit Tigers last year. Okay, so remember, we got to stay around the 500.
Well, we don't have AJ Hinch as manager.
Oh, he's proven to be something. Or a Scooble. Okay, but we'll get to that in a minute. Number 2, I said, can we hit 3% better? I dropped it to 2% better just to get... We're 3% better now, bro.
Are we?
Yes, we are. We're 3% into from this season. We're up about 3%, okay? Everybody, look at everybody hitting on this team. We're shocked. Straw's got RBIs. Come on. Our Berger, he's getting better by the minute. He's over swinging. That's why his batting average is down. But that guy's got power written all over him, and his defense is solid. So I'm going to give Shakins any credit as they make sure that we keep the defense on the field. Number 3, you got to have 5 viable starters, or at least some modicum of that, to stay in the race. Why is Baltimore where they are?
Oh, their starters suck.
Boston's fallen off the cliff lately. Why are they? No starting pitching. Why is Tampa Bay suddenly in the edge again? They brought 2 guys up from the minors again that could suddenly start. Like, what the fuck with Tampa Bay? They keep on doing that.
Cyclical with that team.
And what are they now? Second in the American League East, are they not?
Yes, they are.
God, come on. I thought they'd fall off. What was my prediction? This is the year. Get those fuckers.
I told you watch out for Tampa.
They're and you know what? Name 5 guys on Tampa Bay right now. I'll give you an hour. Ariando guy or whatever his name is. Oh, no, they traded him
to Seattle.
The kid that played
Diaz,
beside
the first baseman.
Yeah, that guy there. The catcher I know. Couple starters, and that's it. Second place in the American League East. Unfreaking believable. So we have to believe because we still have the 5 starters.
Yep.
Okay, the Yankees are getting there on pure hitting. Okay?
Absolutely.
But when you get towards the end, where are their 5 starters?
I mean, let's look at their starting right now.
Okay, so my theory is this.
Well, Max Fried's been amazing.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Rodon's been great for them.
No better than Gozman or Barrios. Or Bassett. No better than any of those 3.
Well, technically their stats are better.
A little bit.
A lot
Nothing better. What's Rodon? What's his record?
He is
6 and something, right?
7-3.
Oh, yeah, because he won.
2.6 ERA with the 0.94 whip.
2.6?
Yeah.
God, he's brought his ERA down last couple weeks, last couple starts, because he was up around 3 and change.
Yeah, the Jays don't have a guy below 3.5.
No, they don't. Because he was in there with them. Okay, so I'll give him credit. His last 2 starts must have been good, and he pitched out because he was 6-3, so he must have pitched last night. Or Thursday or something like that. Or he was coming up. He just pitched recently, and I haven't been paying attention.
He pitched the 27th.
Yeah, Thursday.
No,
Wednesday.
That was like Tuesday.
Whatever. So he'll be pitching this weekend. Good for him. So his last 2 starts must have been amazing because it just seemed because I've been keeping my eye on their rotation as opposed to anybody else.
Yeah, so his last 3 starts, only 1 earned run.
Yeah, so he's really come around then because he was around the 3 mark, and he's been going 6 or 7.
Yes.
An outing 2 with Freeze. You're going to go there. Oh, by the way, after you get to those 2 guys, who are the other Yankee starters, please?
We got Warren.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I mean, it looks like he'd fit in comfortably with the Blue Jays with his numbers.
Francis, he's a Francis type guy.
Sure.
Okay.
Schmidt.
Okay, another Francis type guy. He's going to be coming better by the year going on.
His numbers are closer to like Bassett and those guys this year, though.
Okay, and I think he's going to get better before the year's on because he's still young. So I think he'll be a guy that I'll see a raise in. Who's their other guy?
Yarbrough, I guess, is filling in as former Blue Jay.
Yeah.
Filling in.
Yeah, so it depends on his.
And his numbers are actually very good this year.
For the amount of time he's pitched.
Still.
Okay, I'll give him the benefit of a doubt. I'll still take our 5 guys. We got 5 more than anybody in the league.
What 5? We have 4 starters.
We got 5 guys. We got the 5 guy we pull out.
Oh, it's okay. Scherzer's throwing innings.
Stop it. I don't give a shit. You tell me that, then you're conning me. When I see Scherzer warming up, I switch the channel.
What do you mean? Shatkin's their con artist.
That's what I'm saying.
They fire Anthopoulos because the farm system was drained, apparently. But then how's the farm system been since they've come aboard?
Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah, damn right.
Yeah,
damn right.
Yeah, exactly. So, but this Scherzer thing's just a game now. When they bring him on during the game and shit, what do you? I hope. You know what I hope when the Blue Jays. Most of the times I watch them, the PVR's already started.
Yeah.
So when they flash the Scherzer, I can just fast forward that person. I don't have to even watch. Stop it. Until I see that guy on the mound throwing strikes, I don't want to hear nothing. Thank God he's here. I heard he's great in the dugout. I heard he's been great with the players as like almost as a quasi coach kind of guy. I heard, which is cool.
But we didn't get him to be a coach.
Thank you. We got him here to throw strikes. We haven't seen one yet this year. Oh no, we seen one way back in the day. But I'm not. Sheer doesn't matter. I'm just hoping that that's the Lucas, not Lucas. What's the guy's name? Lauer. I hope he comes around because the guys with the funny dreads out of his hat. Nah, he ain't a starter. We can't have him. Urania, nah, he's not good. And the guy that wears Turnbull, is he still building his arm up down in Buffalo? Is that his deal? Because we got the 2 of them, right? And this guy was supposed to be more ready. He's more ready for what? The bullpen and cleanup time. That's what he's good for. Now, your boy Rodriguez
has actually been a modicum better.
He still makes me nervous when he comes in because of you jinxing him. So I have to be very aware when he comes in. Okay, I wonder, Andrew, I hope he's not watching.
I don't think you know what a jinx is.
I do. But I'm throwing them all at you today. Because every time I see him...
Me saying I'm nervous about him isn't a jinx.
You said more than that. Check the tapes. Okay. Trust me, you've had more than that to say about Rodriguez.
That's not a jinx, though.
Okay, whatever. No, so when he comes in, he makes me nervous.
If I talk bad... Hold on. If I talk bad about him, he turns out good. That's actually a reverse jinx.
I love that, bro. Give me some knuckles there. But... Now, you got to see how I'm feeling when I'm by myself, and I'm just coming home from Stanley, and I got a cold beer, and I've just showered, I'm putting on the PVR, and I look up, and Rodriguez is coming in. I go, oh, Milani. Oh, no. Oh, no. See what you've done to me? You scarred me. So when that guy comes out onto the mound, I go, oh, no, Milani, what's going on? My accomplice said this. Oh, no, but he's been good. He's good. Great. Reverse jinx, we're good.
There we go. Then.
Every time he comes out, I think of you. You go back and share the tapes. You what you had to say about this guy? You wouldn't let him park your car. Okay.
Agreed.
Yeah, okay. So when he comes out, I get nervous. But anyways, I think that we got a long way to go. Next week will be our comprehensive first round the league report, but we should have a few notable things to say about baseball before we continue and the show gets out of control.
Yeah, so Jays obviously finished up the weekend against I keep almost saying Oakland. It's just the A's for the next couple seasons. That's going to be here in Toronto. They are against the Phillies Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then they go to Minnesota for a weekend series Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Minnesota against the Twins. Skubal set an MLB record for most strikeouts in a complete game shutout with 99 pitches or fewer. He got 94 pitches, 13 strikeouts.
104 was his last pitch of the game or something? Something was over 100. His 94th pitch was over 100, bro. That's what got me. All the other stats are like, wow, and wow. Well, yeah, with 100, yeah, most strikeouts with less than 100 pitches. Only throw was 94.
Yeah.
And the last pitch, I think, was 102 or 100 or 104. Anyway, it was outrageous.
What a way to go.
Guy's amazing. And now the Detroit Tigers are officially the best team in baseball.
100%.
You know what their problem is? They don't have a fifth starter.
No one does.
That's what I'm saying. That's why if we could hit a little more, the Jays will stay in contention. Okay?
The problem is, though, at the trade deadline...
then everyone's going to be fighting for the same shit, and who wants to come to Toronto? We got that. They got to make the trade. But the
problem is the Jays' run difference. It's like Anthopoulos 2015.
Yeah.
He went after those guys because they had a good run differential.
Yep, we don't. But the Detroit's got an amazing one. But here's the thing now,
there we
okay?
go. Better for them.
You got to get into the playoffs, and the playoffs is a crapshoot they see now because so many teams have made the playoffs. But it's got to be your front end of the rotation that's going to get you there, right?
Yes.
Look at the front end of Detroit's rotation. Mize... Screwball, who am I missing? Flaherty.
Yeah.
And one more guy. Job, but I think he's on the DL right now, but he's coming back, or I think he's okay.
Mies,
yeah. He's got a good thing. So they got, and that Job guy.
Yeah.
So they're fifth guys like everybody else. Hope you have a good day or bullpen day. But
this Olsen guy that they got. Oh,
what?
he's the one that's injured, you were saying?
No, Job's the guy, but he was injured. Mize was injured, but he came right back.
Job's injured too, yeah.
Yeah, he is injured right now, right?
Yeah, Job and Olsen are injured for you.
Yeah, so they'll be coming back soon. But that's what I'm saying. Nobody, look at the Dodgers. Who's their fifth starter? Philadelphia has 5 starters.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're going to hang in there for quite some time. San Diego has 5 starters. They're going to hang in there for some time. St. Louis has quasi 4.5. I've noticed we'll talk about this coming around. But then here's the other team that I say are complete frauds. And even though they're battling and they're staying in the hunt in their division, Milwaukee can't stay there because you know what? They've already used 12 different starters this year.
Oh, they're one of the biggest disappointments this year.
No starting pitching, but they used 12 guys. And look they're still at 500, aren't they?
Yep, just over. Run differential, they're still in the positive.
Yeah,
they won their last 5, though, so I guess that's helping them out.
And they're getting some hitting, but I don't see them being there at the end. Who's going to start for them? You got 12 guys there, but your 3 are going to go? I don't know. But anyways, we should also talk about another interesting things that happens in baseball. For example, Ohtani's name didn't come up too often because his wife was having a baby. He was distracted. He's had his son now, leading the league in home runs.
Yep. And what about Aaron Judge?
Just say Aaron Judge every show. Aaron Judge. You know what Aaron Judge's great thing about baseball is? Go back to 1920 and all these stats that can hold up for the history of time in baseball. Look at his stats compared to any time in baseball. These are getting to be mad, bro. Like Aaron Judge. MVP, just give it to him now. The other thing I want to hope up great players, Mike Trout's, there's been Mike Trout sighting. So I hope he's coming back.
Hope so.
As anyway, now I'm going to tell you one more thing to get out of baseball because we're getting along the show's getting too long. A couple other things to talk about is this. Schwarber had a 40 game on base, whatever.
Streak?
Yeah. Did you think it was significant?
I mean, of course that's significant.
In what way?
It's 40 games you get on base in a row. That's pretty big.
Okay, what does it do for your team? Does it do anything? Sure it does.
Well, everyone talks about Joe DiMaggio's hitting streak.
That's way different. This is getting on base every day.
Same thing.
No, it's way different. But I'll give you,
How is it different?
because you got to get a hit. You get walked. Walked hitting's two different.
Doesn't matter.
things.
You didn't get out.
No, you got on base. So, okay, you're
It's
gonna
worth the same.
keep going. I'm feeding you enough rope. You're gonna love this. Okay, so now what has Schwarber done in this 40 game thing? 20. What's he at? How many RBIs?
Okay.
How many base
anyways.
percentage? OPS. Amazing stat, isn't it? Vladimir Guerrero pushing 35 games on base percentage. What's it doing for the Blue Jays? What's it doing for his numbers? What a
His numbers are getting
juxtaposition.
better.
Fucking do fuck all, bro. That's what I'm saying. These numbers drive me nuts at times. He's doing what Schwarber's doing, almost. Like, if he keeps a few more games, he's going to do what Schwarber's doing. Didn't you see how great it was that Schwarber's doing all this shit? What is Guerrero's 40 doing? Nothing. Empty calories again. He hit a couple home runs last night. Come on.
Yeah, what do you mean?
I love Vladdy. Bring it up. So you're on base every day. You walk. You stay at first base. You go back home. You go 0 for 4. Okay, great. You got on base again. This is empty. That's what I'm saying. I'm glad you gave Schwarber all that credit, because we got
I
a
don't think
guy
it's
doing
empty
this.
calories at all. The object of baseball is to not get out. He didn't get out.
What? And so what else has it done?
He's doing his job when he gets to the plate. I don't get how you're spinning that as a negative. That is outrageous. That's outrageous.
Because they bring up the stat, and I'm going, it's not doing nothing for his numbers.
So what do you want him to do? Hit a friggin' deep ball?
I want more home runs. I want more RBIs. I want more discipline at the plate.
What happened to letting the game come to you?
What?
Let the game come to you.
Then he better, because you know what else is starting to make
You don't always have the opportunity for a home run.
Well,
so I don't like to be. We got punish guys for like not getting out,
okay,
getting on
so
base.
then
I don't get the logic.
So
there.
here's what's really blowing my mind. I'll put it this way: he every game he's on base, batting average going down.
I don't care about batting average. On base is worth more.
I want production then. He's not even scoring
on
extra
base. What are you
runs.
talking about production? He's getting
Look
on base.
at Vladdy's numbers right now.
Okay.
Look at Vladdy's numbers right now.
Okay.
Has he scored 30 runs?
Has he scored? Well, that's also the guys behind him that can't hit.
Has he hit 15 home runs?
Has he hit 15 home runs? No. He's been a little bit
Has he
slow.
got 30 RBIs?
No.
Has he hitting 280?
280, I believe so. He's hitting 280.
Oh, lucky you got there, because he would have missed 5 metrics that I brought up. That's what I'm talking
He's
about.
at 26 RBIs. Come on, you're gonna what? You're gonna kill him because he's 4 below
50
your
million.
threshold?
I want, but well, he's not Riley Green on the Detroit Tigers. Okay,
Okay, no one's saying he is.
Okay, because he's supposed to be better.
Okay,
That's what I'm getting at, bro. We need more out of the guy. That's money.
you know what you sound like right now? You sound like the Leaf fans who are jumping on Marner.
I'm not jumping on him completely. I'm just saying I want more.
You're just jumping on him halfway. Cruz.
Okay, here was my point of putting this up. Everybody lost their mind about Schwarber getting this 40-game streak.
That's cool.
I think it's cool too, and I'm glad. I hope Vladdy has a 75-game streak.
Of course.
Okay, that's what I'm hoping. I'm just saying that sometimes these numbers don't produce what you think they do all the time. Like, look at Schwarber's and look at Vladdy's.
What do you mean? I'm okay.
My thing is this: and when you're on base that many times, I'm thinking that I should have seen a few more runs scored, a few more RBIs. That's what I'm getting at, and I'm not seeing that's a drag.
That's
I'm going,
a systematic problem for the Blue Jays because
Damn.
no one can hit. It also depends on the guys that behind you. How can you score a run if the guy behind you is striking out all the time?
But I'm saying that if your streak is going on because 3 times you had 1 walk and you were 0-4 in
Is
those
that
other
what's
3 games,
happening?
a couple times, yeah.
A couple times out of 30, you take it.
I'm saying that I think we should get more production out of them. I'm wishing for more production. Power alone, bro. Come on, now we're going to be 2. Okay, I'm going to put it this way.
I'm not going to bitch about Vladdy. He's one of the only couple guys hitting over 800 on this team. If I'm going to bitch, I'm going to bitch at Bo Bichette.
We'll get to him in a minute. Well, we might not even get to him. We're going to get to him because we'll talk about Bo next time. We'll talk about the other guys that come around. My thing about this, I love Vladdy. I hate fat metrics and I hate skinny metrics. Give me something straight down the middle. The only reason I brought up Schwarber and I brought up Vladdy is because they talk about these streaks. Baseball loves its streaks.
What's a fat and a skinny metric?
Fat metric is Schwarber's 40-game streak.
How's that? I don't understand. We don't have time to discuss this, I don't think.
It's called numbers, RBIs and walks and shit. I just thought that considering when I saw that streak that Vladdy's on here, when I look at the production that went with it, I go, I wish there was more. That's all. Maybe it's personal preference. But let's move on. We're too much time.
Yes.
Go Jays. You're 500 June 1st, and that's good enough for me.
That is good enough, and we'll move us over to our soccer report where TFC is coming off another couple losing games. They They lost. The results suck.
The results suck. Yeah.
They lost versus Nashville at home 2-1 on Saturday, and they lost versus Philadelphia at home 2-1 on Wednesday. They host Charlotte today. Best of luck to them.
Why don't they sign Cristiano Ronaldo?
Well, they got to make a spot for international players. They have
all
all 3 slots filled out right now, so they got to find a way to.
He's coming to North America, isn't he?
I think so. I think there's a chance he could come to Toronto.
That's what I'm saying too. Wouldn't that be? He's 40 though, right?
Doesn't matter. You take him.
Oh, drop a hat. Just
for the commerce alone, you do it if you're.
And the story when I first heard that,
because he's not going back to Saudi Arabia.
He hates it, except for the money. The rumor is he thinks it's the biggest mistake he made in his life.
I don't doubt that.
Because guess what? His bank account was so full anyway. He eliminated himself from all of that other good, like being on the Live Tour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what he's looking at now. Like when he sees Champions League and shit like that, and he's looking over going, I
missed out on that.
I was a star in that. That shit made me who I am today. And who am I playing this week? Oh yeah, Milani and Cruz on the beach.
Either way, we'll keep this moving. Premier League wrapped up last week. Man City beat Fulham 2-0 on the road, dominating road win. Chelsea beat Nottingham Forest in Nottingham Forest. Yep. Levi Colwill had the lone goal there. Man U defended home turf against Aston Villa 2-0, bit of a disappointing end to the season for them. Villa shorthanded with the red card at the end of the first half, then things just completely collapsed for them there. Newcastle couldn't hang on at home. They got beaten 1-0 by Everton despite being outshot and outpossessed. Everton pulls out the win.
Wow.
Liverpool gets a 1-1 draw at home. Salah with the tying goal in the 84th minute. So you look at the table now. We have officially our teams that move on to Champions League. So Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea, and Newcastle all punch their tickets. Aston Villa will go to Europa League, which is, of course, the Tier 2. Nottingham Forest missing out completely on those top 2.
Wow. Should we shout out to J.J. Watt for his team moving up to the Premier League?
What team?
Burnley.
Oh yes, they did move up.
They did. They're so next year they're going to be actually playing in the Premier League. Shout out to J.J. Watt. What about that team that those movie star guys own? Did their team move? Not yet. They're not.
They moved up to the second tier, so they're Football League Championship now. So if they win, if they're top 2 next year, then they're in Premier League.
Yeah, that's crazy how that works, eh?
Yep.
I remember.
I love that system.
What?
I love the system.
You know what? When you think about it, it's not bad because as J.J. Watt said, he goes, "We earned that, by the way."
Of course.
We earned it. I love when you hear the word earned. Like, oh, your team this. Oh, you played who? You played that because a couple guys were giving him the diss. And he goes, last time I checked, we earned it.
There you go.
Thank you, J.J. Watt. Liking you better by the day.
For Premier League, Mo Salah gets the Golden Boot with 29 goals. He also led the league in assists with 18.
Okay, wait a second here. How old's the guy?
He is
18.
No, 32.
Who?
Salah.
Oh, Salah. I'm thinking the other guy.
You're thinking Holland, aren't
you? You know, what's the kid with the funny hair from Spain? Yeah, I'm thinking of him.
Oh, that's Spain. That's coming later.
Got it.
So Salah, 29 goals, 18 assists, leads the league in both. David Rea from Arsenal led the league. Oh, well, actually, Sells too from Nottingham Forest, both leading the league with 13 clean sheets.
How about our boy from Man City? How did he end up?
He didn't win. We don't care.
Good.
In Italy, Juventus beat Venezia 3-2 on the road. Locatelli scoring a penalty winner in the 73rd minute to send Juventus to Champions League.
Yes.
Lecce beat Lazio 1-0 on the road. Lecce survives on the road despite 2 red cards at the end of the first half. Roma goes into Torino, beats them 2-0 in a dominating win. Verona beat Empoli 2-1 on the road. Empoli now relegated after a bit of a miracle season. They had their run in Coppa Italia, but unfortunately get sent down to Serie B next year. So now Napoli, Inter Milan, Atalanta, and Juventus all punch their tickets to Champions League. Roma goes to Europa League, and Fiorentina goes to Conference League. Retegui from Atalanta led the league in goals. Lukaku from Napoli led the league in assists with 10. And Retegui, 25 goals. And then Slivlar and Maret both leading the league with 16 clean sheets.
I asked this before, but Juventus of Turin is like a Toronto Maple Leaf team, right?
They're the old lady.
Oh, they're the old lady, right? Yeah.
That's their nickname.
Yeah, the old lady, yeah. Okay.
Well, them Milan and Inter all kind of like on the same level.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's the old lady, right? Yeah. First thing I ever heard 40 years ago moving to Toronto, 40-some years about soccer. First team that jumped out on the screen that the boys made me know about was Juventus of Turin. Outside.
I bet. Everyone's a Juventus fan.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't even know who they were. They were telling me, these guys are the Montreal Canadiens, because I was a Hab guy.
Yeah.
So way back 40 years ago, they you want to know what? If you don't know, they're like the Montreal Canadiens, bro. And I went, oh, fuck. And I always like the color of their jerseys.
For sure. In Spain, Yamal signing a big extension with Barcelona that runs out in 2031. They're not saying how much money, but...
That's the guy I'm talking about, right? What a future.
I imagine he's not getting paid nothing there to stick around either. Mbappe wins the Golden Boot with 31 goals. Yamal had the most assists with 13, and Jan Oblak of Atletico Madrid most clean sheets with 15.
Okay, so can I ask you really quick before we forget this young soccer guy? Can I just throw this out there really quick? Is there anybody with brighter futures in sports than him and Antonelli driving for Mercedes in F1? Kid athletes. Anybody?
Like, define kid, like under 18?
Yeah, like say anybody.
Oh, what about Bedard's cousin there?
We don't know yet.
No, he's going to go number 1 overall next year. What's his name? He plays for Medicine Hat. I'm blanking on his name right now.
He's playing now.
Yeah.
And they're in the final. Yeah. No, they lost, I think.
No, I think they are on to the final.
Yeah. You think so, though? He's bigger than Bedard. He's bigger than Bedard. Well, I don't know. We got to wait.
Cooper Flag?
Oh, whoa, good call. That's what I knew you'd always figure out somebody. Cooper Flag could get on that level, but he's got to play first. I'd say Wemby's, but Wemby's over 20 now, right?
Yeah,
he's 21. Okay, say 21 and under. Wemby's right there with those guys. So I'd put Wemby, Antonelli, the soccer kid, and
Yamal,
yeah.
Yamal.
Like, look at their age and what they're doing. It just blows my mind.
Gavin McKenna, that's the hockey guy I was thinking of.
I don't know if he'll be on those guys' level, though.
Well, I don't know. He's supposed
to be the first pick overall. I know.
He's supposed to be a phenom.
Well, I'm going to watch the game today. I'm going to watch more of it.
Yeah, the final. We'll mention that a little bit later. So for Spain, top 5 players go to Champions League: Barcelona, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Athletic, and Villarreal. Real Betis, we'll talk about a little bit later. Celta Vigo going to Europa League. League leaders: Mbappe, 31 goals. I already said that. Yeah. We'll move this over to Germany then, where VfB Stuttgart their league was already done. So VfB Stuttgart overcame a late rally by Arminia Bielefeld for the DFB Pokal, which is basically their version. It's the German Cup, basically. They win that 4-2. In France, PSG dominates Reims 3-0 for the Coupe de France. Bradley Barcola with 2 goals in the first 20 minutes of that one to give them the win.
Okay, so now, what do these guys do for the rest of the summer?
Well, hold on. Okay. So, Conference League final. Chelsea beat Real Betis 4-1 in that one. The first 2 goals were beauty assists by Cole Palmer. Nicholas Jackson scored the winner in the 70th minute of that one. But Chelsea's already on their way to Champions League. But the Champions League final, that is today, Inter versus PSG in Munich. Should be a fun one. So, you're saying what these guys do for the rest of the summer?
Yeah.
Go on vacation.
You know, it blows me away because they'll play in February in England. Last time I checked, the weather's better in July.
That in Europe, they like their summers off.
No kidding. They invented it. Every country's like that. Canada, we're a Commonwealth country. Why didn't we learn that? Everywhere you go, I heard that. Italy, Greece, England, France.
Especially August, no one works.
Nobody works. They say, screw that, man. We got to kick it back, enjoy the weather. God, I wish we had that attitude.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
Anything else for soccer?
Nope, that's good. Just hope the Toronto FC, come on, guys.
Pull up your socks a little bit.
Yes, go get Ronaldo, but he wouldn't play this year anyway, would he?
It would be next year, yeah.
Next year, okay.
We'll move this over, I guess, keep it in Europe with the French Open. Felix, unfortunately, our boy, out in the first round in 5 sets after winning the first 2 against Arnaldi. Diallo won his first round in straight sets over number 18, Cerundolo, but lost the next round in 4 sets. Shapovalov beat Martinez in straight sets in round 1, but he lost his second round in 5 sets. Sinner, Alcaraz, Zverev, Draper, and Djokovic still alive in the men's draw. In the women, Leila Annie Fernandez loses her round 1 in straight sets. Mboko, new on the scene, won round 1 in straight sets and also won her second round in straight sets. She will face Zhang in the third round. A little bit of a tough match there.
I think she's going to get slapped.
Top 8 seeds in the women's bracket still around.
Yes. Okay, so there's a couple things I want to bring up about this. First of all, this looks like a definite Alcaraz is going to put the hammer down on this tournament because I don't think anyone else is going to beat him. I really do. Zverev comes out of it, because you know what it is? He already beat Sinner in the Italian Open.
Yeah.
That's the Clay thing. And he's yelling at the guy because he's number one. So there's building up. There's a rivalry going on there, and it's going to get ugly, I think. Like because, Alcaraz is very, Sinner's not.
No.
So, I mean, when's Sinner going to crack one time, throw a racket at him or something? Well,
Sinner's strength is on hard court, though.
Yeah, but he's that's right. Yeah, right. So they don't. I expect that's why I expect Alcaraz to go here. Biggest fall down in this tournament though was this Fritz guy.
Oh, he was out in round one.
Gone. He was supposed to be somebody. He got gone. Casper Rudd, another supposed to be.
He always seems to flop out early in the majors though, in these Grand Slams.
Okay, so here's what we're going to look at. So when we're talking about all that, we're already talking about. Okay, I think Alcaraz is going to win. Zverev, he's got to show up one of these times. So maybe this is.
Well, he made it to a final last year, finally.
Yeah, but he hasn't won anything, and he's great. Okay, so, but what it makes it is, when you think about it, the men's is kind of weaker than the drama going on in the women's. We got more to see over there. We got more characters that are becoming more consistent. Like, first of all, the first two seeds are still there. Zabalenka and Goff are still there, and nobody's even talking about them winning it because we got Swiatek going for number 3. But guess what? I'm not so there.
More than that.
This will be her 4th. If she wins, it'll be a 4th in a row.
Oh, 4th in a row. But she's won one before that, too.
I think she's creeping up on Chris Evert for the wins, but she's still got a couple 3 to go. But here's what we're talking about. Your Italian girl. She just won.
Paolini.
She just won the Italian Open, which is on clay. And meanwhile, Swiatek hasn't won anything in 2025, and I think she's only been to one semifinal on the tour this year. So even though this is her surface, you got to show a modicum of, like, where you been? And she didn't make the greatest show in the Italian Open, and if this is supposed to be her surface. So I think she's vulnerable, but I think it's going to be more of a battle because I think the competition is tighter. Paluga is still around. Pagula is still around. Who else? I'm missing one other person that I thought might be in. I'm sorry that Emma Navarro ran out. Mm-hmm. My girl with the legs, she's gone. Damn, I like her, but anyway, she's gone too. But I'm saying now, when you look about the drama and you look as we're getting down to it, I think we're going to have more fun in these next 3-4 semifinal rounds with the girls because I think the guys are going to preordain. When you get to the end, it's going to be Zverev, Sinner, even the joke boys. The big boys are going to be there, and everyone's going around there. Even though I think Shelton will be the only one that's got a chance. If Shelton beats Alcaraz, wow.
Yeah, watch out.
Then he could be the guy that comes up and suddenly is. Because the rest of the draw, I'm watching, I took a really, like, an in-depth look at it, and I said, wow, the girls just looks like more fun this year. It looks like there's going to be more.
You never know with tennis. That's the cool thing about it.
That's exactly. They guys still play the matches.
Yeah.
So we're going to wait and see. Anyways, we'll keep our eye on it. Any your picks? Who do you think? I think Alcaraz is going to win the French. No problem.
I'm curious about Djokovic this year. I don't know if he's going to win the French specifically or if he's just kind of like waiting for Wimbledon.
I don't know. He's looking okay, but come on. Look at the miles on that dude.
I know.
And he just came off that funky knee injury from last year.
I think he's got like at least a couple more Grand Slams in him.
Really?
I think so.
He's only 39, right? 38? Okay, so anyways, I want to
He's not done.
Okay, here's a shout out I wanted to use, but I'm going to shout out now. This blew my mind. I always liked him. He never got there. He's always cannon fodder or whatever. Gael Monfils, 20th French Open in a row.
Wow.
Lost second round in one of the most fiercest matches of young players to play at the time. An 18-year-old Monfils lost to a 17-year-old kid in 5 sets. Guess who the 17-year-old was?
Oh, who was it? Like Nadal?
Djokovic.
Oh.
Crazy, eh?
Wow.
Yeah, that's when I heard that. I went, wow, that's pretty freaking, 20 years later, they're still in there playing. I think he's got to the semifinals once, and he's a Frenchman.
Wow.
And but this is his 20th freaking French Open. And who's he going out with? Is he going out with Swiatek or one of those?
I have no idea.
He's going out with a top 10 player. I should have called my TMZ people so I could stay on top of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Anything else for tennis?
No, but keep watching because there's been some good matches. And once you get down to like the fourth round and the semifinals is always great. I'll be keeping my eyes open. Now let's go to something else. Our next big thing before we get the show over.
Yes, so we move it over to the PWHL.
Oh, let's
Minnesota captured Game 3 2-1 in triple overtime, in Game 4 2-1 in overtime to win their second of back-to-back Walter Cups. Ottawa's Gwyneth Phillips won the series MVP. All 4 games going to overtime in this one.
That's why we're going to call the show. Do you understand the jinx?
The jinx.
You said, oh, these Canadian teams, I hope Ottawa can win just because they got lost.
Yeah.
See,
that's a jinx. That's fair.
Okay, yeah. Should have left it alone, bro. We had a chance. Now you just had to jinx them right out of it. The Yanks stole another one. Even though our goalie, the goalie on Ottawa, who played outstanding.
Very good.
Yes, she ended up with the MVP, I believe.
Yes, she did.
Yes. The problem is, though, in the girls' hockey is they're expanding the 2 teams. Grassroots level. Girls, you're allowed to shoot the puck, too. Just like the men, shoot the goddamn puck. They skate a lot. They look good. The pace of play, that's my big thing. Pace of play, though, in the last couple games was good.
Tremendous.
That was really good, even though you could tell, like, the ice was tilted a little towards the Ottawa net towards the end of the Minnesota
Yeah,
thing.
the goalie winning MVP there, Phillips, well-deserved, because Minnesota did feel like the better team in this series.
Oh, yeah. Once even though they had stole the first one after that, they were there. You know what? They look big. When you start noticing, I was noticing each going around, they look a little bigger than the other team, even though I thought Montreal looked like kind of big. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But they just couldn't score.
No.
But congratulations on Minnesota. Toronto, tie your shoes better, get better jerseys, and we hope you have a better run next year.
Isn't it weird that Minnesota, the only professional sports teams that can win there are the women's teams now?
It's kind of being that way, isn't it? Kind of been that way.
Because the Lynx have won, what was that, like a few years ago?
Yes.
Now back-to-back for the Minnesota Frost. And then besides that, they have those 2 World Series. But the last one was 91, before I was even born.
Oh, yeah, that's a long time ago. See, Prince, God bless Prince, because he always said, remember he threw the party for the team when they won the championship and all that stuff and all that stuff. But he always yelling about girls are equal to the boys. And it's looking that way in Minnesota.
Definitely is.
Yeah.
And just cannot shake off the eeriness of Canadian teams not being able to win pro hockey titles.
Jinxed us. So don't say nothing anymore. We got NHL finals to go. Don't be screwing that up, okay? Just don't say a word. You just be a good boy, Mrs. Milani, and anytime he says something like that, give him that old-fashioned cuff in the back of the head. Don't be jinxing us freaking Canadians, okay?
We'll move us over to Formula One, where Lando Norris won his first Monaco Grand Prix from pole.
Yes.
Charles Leclerc and Oscar Piastri complete the podium. Verstappen 4th, Hamilton 5th, Hadjar 6th, continuing to impress. Ocon 7th, Lawson 8th, Albon 9, and Carlos Sainz number 10.
The thing about this race is, Carlos had a good run. No, Alonso, didn't he? No, he backed out. Okay, yeah. In any event, the thing about this race is the tradition behind it. It's a street track. Qualifying is everything to me. And this is all qualifying. Because once you get out there, where do you pass?
There's nowhere to pass.
Nowhere to pass. And you get your track on pace, man. Look at the first 4. Ran 4. Just like that. Now, here's the interesting thing about this race. It's a tricky street track. Because if you don't know what you're doing, shit gonna happen. Ask the rookies.
Yeah. Well, that's why Charles Leclerc is so good on this track. Like, he grew up there. He knows the streets.
Oh, he didn't win. He just, because he couldn't find, he
couldn't get pole.
No, he couldn't get pulled, and he gave his best effort at times to trying to pull moves. He pulled a couple scary moves a couple times, but he pulled back because he would have hit the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
He had you could see it. Almost didn't you feel it when you were watching it? He's gonna go. No.
Nah, I mean, I'm like, where's he gonna do it?
Exactly. Well, a couple of those ones.
You're waiting for Lando to screw up. That's the thing.
Yeah, but you know what it was? It was I think it was the 8th turn or the 9th turn. There's that it goes to the curve. So if you're really good and you really got pace, you can sneak
but you're
by.
going up against another car with a lot of pace as well.
So if you don't make the turn, you're both out of the race.
Yeah.
You're both out of it. So I guess that's why Leclerc was there. But I think he made at least 4 or 5 serious runs at him. And you know what it was all about, too? This crazy pit stop in your tire time. Everybody did it a little bit differently, but they all ended up in the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
So there was a required 2 stop that did not work at all.
Nope.
And you had a lot of teams taking advantage of that situation as well. We saw the 2 Mercedes basically getting caught. They both tried to sneak above the rules. Russell got a drive-through penalty, which you never see anymore.
Exactly.
And it didn't even work.
Yeah.
So
I was confused about the 2-stop maximum and all that. I forgot about that when I'm learning along the way. When they did that. So I don't understand it, but,
Yeah, I've seen some people suggesting that maybe they make some changes to the track itself. Like, there's that chicane where George kind of went straight through there. Like, you move that chicane a little bit up ahead so like guys have a little bit more speed. There's a couple turns there, like
that's
they
where
can
you
widen
get
them a bit.
Yeah, that's the places where you could actually afford a change there.
Yeah.
And the one place where they said they widened it, that would be the spot, because that's even 3/4 into the lap. So it would make for, because one of the guys was, if they did it here, they could actually end the race with a rush. And I thought, hey, I never thought about that. Well, those guys are experienced. But you know that when you're talking where they were getting wide, that would be a good spot because you could have your last shot.
And then they're even saying, like, the part where it's like downhill and you got to do that like little U-turn, whatever. Yep. They're saying if you can open up that spot a little bit too. So you have guys like braking hard and maybe there's a chance there to pass.
On the inside too, they said, which would make it really tricky. Yeah. Okay, but I you know what? That track's been Monaco's 100 years old now?
Yeah, basically.
It's 100-year-old. Like it is the golden jewels.
Yeah, that Monza, Silverstone, those are like the crown jewels of the Formula One calendar.
Exactly. So how can you change on it? The tradition, the money. That's why Leclerc is such a spoiled guy. He grew up in Monaco, didn't he?
I mean, a lot of these guys grew up with money. Let's not get twisted.
Let's agree. But in Monaco though, like all the history, I paid attention a little bit more because I watched some of the lead up and some of the history of the other guys that have won here. But I realized really quickly, because I watched completely listened to everything that was going on in qualifying, because once I realized how the track was working here, I'm going to go, I forgot about this last year. This is a pretty tricky little place to be. Better be good in the qualifying. And the top 4 qualifiers came in top 4 in the race.
Yep, well, that's how it always is in Monaco.
Yep. That's why qualifying was very, very interesting. But I like the track. I like the way it's laid out. I do like the couple of things that you did mention about where they could open up a bit. That would really change it, which they probably will, because real change takes time.
Sure.
And I might come around to it, especially with the speed of the cars. Is this the last race now? We get to that. We get to the next race. We get to the fin.
Yeah, so
we get to the
front
fin game.
The front tire wing modifications, or the new rules, are now officially in effect, going into Spain this weekend. And in 2 weeks, Canada.
That's right. I got to say this, anybody. If you want to watch cartoons that are like real life, catch Zach Brown the first 10 minutes of the Checkered Flag Show.
Oh, my God.
It's like a cartoon character now. He's hilarious. He doesn't know who to hug. Then he sees Lando. Then he sees Oscar. Who is he supposed to love more? But you're both my favorite kids. He is a show, though. Come on.
He is.
And you know what it is? The sheer exuberance you feel from the TV, from the man. And look what the level they're competing on, bro. Come on. Think about that, like where they're at. I would feel that way, wouldn't you?
Oh,
Come on. I mean, the other guys are a little bit cooler about it. Your Mercedes guy and
Toto.
Yeah, and the Ferrari guys. They're like they're cooler than Freddie King sitting on an ice cream bar with an ice cream cone in his mouth, kind of saying. But yeah, it was an interesting race. I can't wait. I'm looking. I got the qualifying to practice on. I'm going to watch
Qualifying's, yeah.
Probably early.
That happened already.
It's 1:30 already. 1:30 already. My phone hasn't gone off. That's a good thing. So I'm doing good, kids. We're going to be on our way.
Yes. So what do you think of the Christian Horner to Ferrari rumors?
Something's got to come shake there, because everybody's not happy at Red Bull.
Clearly. But what happened to your line about Horner having dinner with the owner or whatever, the guy, the CEO?
Sometimes, as Michael Wilbon says, you don't have the take that you thought you did. Things change overnight. From now on, I'm just going to say this, okay? Here we are at the House That Happens. The show is coming to an end. It's actually been a great show. We had a lot of things that we brought up and really a lot of things we had to talk about. The only thing I can guarantee you from now on when you're listening to the House That Happens is 2 things. Sun comes up in the morning and goes down at night. I will verify those every day of the week on every show that we do. Outside of that, alleged, coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Okay.
All righty? Just one more time, shout out to Shea being MVP and going to win the championship from Hamilton, people.
And one last shout out to the Memorial Cup London versus Medicine Hat that's going to be on tomorrow night. I think I will be watching.
I will watch the game too. We'll take a look at McKenna. Anything else you want to talk about?
That is about it.
I got one more shout out. I did shout out that. Yes, I did.
So, No trivia today, unfortunately.
That's okay. You know what? There's some other things that we should be doing too, and you will yell at me, so get it tightened up. All those that are listening to the show, you can't hear it now, but yes, I should be ready to be going by 2 o'clock. Look at that. We got the show done and everything.
So what sports are you looking forward to the most this week?
I'm looking forward to the quarterfinals of the French Open.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. I haven't been paying enough attention to it, and I see you got knocked out, and I'm seeing how it's going to go. Like the round 4 and the semifinals could be some of the best matches ever, because you get the finals, it could be the usual. But I'm hoping for your girl
Milani?
Yeah, because that'll be her first Grand Slam win, right?
It would be.
Yeah, so
she still doesn't have one.
No, so it'd be good for her. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm really looking forward to. I hope they sharpen their. I hope that Skinner and Alcaraz make the final.
Okay.
Just because of the animosity that's growing.
That'd be fun.
Them. Yes, I like that. Rivalries are good.
So I'm told.
Let's go with that. Anything else?
For me, I'm looking forward to Stanley Cup Final Game 1, Edmonton, Florida. We're just really excited to see how both these teams show up for Game 1.
I'm more hoping that we get the highest level of competition and that the ratings go through the roof, because the games are so amazing.
All right, Cruz, thank you once again for another great show, and thank you so much for listening. We love you. We appreciate you for listening.
Especially
The House That
Happens
is nothing without you.
Thank you very much. Hi, my name is Cruz.
And I'm Andrew Milani.
What do?
We keep the vibe alive. Do you have a question? We'll answer it on the air. Send it to thehousethathappens@gmail.com. You can find us on Podbean, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, iHeart Radio, Player FM, Podchaser, Boomplay, and SoundCloud. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at The House That Happens, and on X at House Happens.